Now let's try it. Hmm. I think we're all right. I think we're live. We're good. We made it. We made it. We made it. Oh, do I? I'll go back. I'll take care of that. I will take care of that right now. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I was gonna say, does it automatically become a YouTube short? Oh, I see it. I see it. I'm gonna delete that now. It's gone. Okay. We should be live, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be here. No, I'm looking at it right now. I'm watching it. I'm watching it. We just got to make sure you guys have audio and everything. We sounding good? Evan's not here. Evan's not here tonight. So as many of you can probably tell right now, okay, a 34-year-old man is trying to navigate what looks like madness on my screen right now. But I'm here. Oh, we can only hear me. Hey,
it's a throwback
you know
weekend.
You know
okay?
what? How about now? Can you hear everyone?
Can you hear us?
Yeah,
So.
yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Spawncast episode 7.
All right, good.
Where John had like a piece of paper that said, "Get us to 300 likes,
Oh,
please."
you remember that? That was good.
Yeah.
Those are the days,
Guys,
man.
get us to 300 likes right
Went
now.
old school. We wrote it on a piece of paper and everything. Man,
That was
those are the
great. You
days.
should bring that back, man.
Those are the days. I should put like some in the background for that. I should get a whiteboard. I wasn't thinking back then. I was using like printer paper and a marker.
The classics.
Right? Oh well.
Gives it a good rustic feel though. I like the old. It gives it a good like homely feel when you do stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
Homemade feel.
It's but I did look. Evan actually did leave the number for last episode. It was like 278. So this should be episode 279. Evan is at a LAN party. Last time we went to a LAN party, he was there for like a month. So, but he did pop in and run the show still while he was at the LAN party. So I'm thinking next week he'll be back, even if he's still at the LAN party. Hey,
They have like they spend the night. There's like camp.
there's some ridiculous LAN parties going on over there, man. That's all I know. They have a good time. They have a good time.
Tell me there's other. Oh, never mind. We're not getting into that.
A lot of computers going on.
No other people there. Just the dudes. Just there.
We do have some other people that may drop. I don't know. Nate's like randomly dropping in here and there, so we might see him. MVG is out and about this weekend, so I'm assuming we'll see him next weekend. Click might be dropping in too. I wanted to get Click's take on the whole Splatoon 3 thing, so I don't know where Click is right now. We'll see. Anyway, episode 279. Thanks to everyone for stopping by. Let's see. We have RGT85. How we doing, RGT?
Hello, I'm good.
Good to have Sean here. If OJ's a little loud, I can do one of these jobs. Boom.
Am I too loud? I get that
Gotcha.
often.
I think we got him. Okay, there we go. I just lowered you a little bit
Got
on
him.
this side. And let's see. We have OJ, Player Essence. How we doing, OJ?
I'm doing good. Doing very good. Continuing my Spawncast pre-show. We hit, I think, like another record today. Like almost 450 people plus. We're getting towards 500 before the stream. So thank you guys for coming out. Thanks for having me on.
Very nice. Very nice. Then we have Jordan Fridge. Jordan, how we doing?
Good. Glad to be here. It's an exciting throwback week.
Let's see, look at this. Hellman says Evan's not here. Definitely shows. Late AF. No intro music. Can't get the notifications out. Some Player Essence type joke.
I would like for the record to show that the after show has an intro with a song and transitions. See, I'm not
It
a
does.
complete idiot. I just
It does.
can't
It has
mess with
the
cardboard.
It has the the labo is like the stopping point for you.
That's a little beyond me.
Anyway, oh, see, look at that. Optic says RGT85 hat is fire. Need one. There you go.
Just
That is
says
fire.
NY
That is
on
fire.
it. Everyone's hat
Better
just
than
has
that.
2 letters on it.
Better than that trash some people are wearing on
The
here.
New York Giants? When was the last time they were good?
Also, we have Evan does a lot of the Discord questions. I'm going to see if I can pull them up on this screen. I'm not going to touch this other Discord screen here now because it might explode. Otherwise, actually, everything's working. So I'll try to pull the Discord questions on this side as we go, though. So we'll make it work. We'll get it there. But we do have some fun stuff to go over. We got the Microsoft Sony stuff flying all over again. Microsoft had some comments that sent the internet off, but I'm sure we'll talk through that one. Splatoon 3 got its reveal. Some varying opinions. Sean wanted us to put controversy in the title, but I couldn't quite fit it. I had to just use reveal. We ran up right against 100 character cap.
Damn it.
Yeah. We had the THQ showcase. There are like maybe 2 or 3 games we could probably talk about there. And then at the end, I put in Nintendo's best system because I did a video. I also put a poll up, and then I got some varying opinions on this, and I thought we would kind of talk about that to close it out for some fun. Is the Switch the best system Nintendo's ever released? I guess we'll find out. Let's start over here with the Microsoft situation as I attempt to pull up these Discord questions. So we did have Microsoft respond to Sony. Sony, of course, ran out a whole list of reasons as to why the regulators, specifically this was in Brazil, should not allow the deal to go through or why it would be problematic to them. In which case, they mentioned quite a bit about Call of Duty being its own genre, basically. It being the biggest franchise release ever. It's impossible to compete with it all, these different things. And that Game Pass actually is bad for consumers, it seems, because according to them, Game Pass would reduce the quality of games, which means we would get worse games in the long run. Microsoft responded, and what's interesting is the one thing that people took away from it is that Microsoft mentioned that Sony had paid to block. Jordan's going.
Getting bigger, boys. We're getting bigger.
That Sony had paid to block any or certain games going to Game Pass, and that set the internet off. I don't know if people seemed kind of surprised by this, which was weird to me. Mostly because it's exclusivity, right? Where it's paid out and you're on this platform, or you can't go to a service specifically because we have marketing and we don't want to advertise that. You were pretty quick to this show. You said exclusives are good. That's what you said.
They are. They drive you to buy a system.
You're team exclusivity here.
Yes. If you want to play a certain game, you buy the system that the game is available on. If it's there's things called multi-platform games, which are available on everything, and then there are exclusive games. You don't buy a PlayStation 5 because you want to play the latest Mario game or Zelda game. No, you would buy a Nintendo system. I don't understand why this it seems extreme, and I am the king of pettiness, and this seems like stupid petty to me. Like, okay, if that's the case, Sony, then put your first party titles on an Xbox. Like, I don't understand the mindset here.
What do you think? What do you think, OJ? Any big deal here with them saying that they were paying to keep stuff off of Game Pass? Apparently, Resident Evil Village was one that was leaked out before. It was this unverified document, but it seems like that's the one that people are pointing to the most.
It
right
kind
now.
of seems like two people that do the same thing, like hypocrites, like in the prison, like two murderers, then one person murdered somebody worse than the other. Like, oh, you're such a worse murderer than the other. It's like, no, you guys are both doing things that try to bring the business and get someone to buy your system, to RGT's point, right? So I don't understand why one is crying over the other and people are trying to pick and choose who's right and who's wrong. They both do it. Sony pays, and not even, let's talk about paying for games to not go on Game Pass. They also just pay for outright exclusives. They just pay to own, like, not own, but Final Fantasy. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake, where's that on Xbox or on anything else? You know, it's on PC, Steam, but how many years afterwards or how much longer afterwards? You know, they've done it with various other games, you know, so they both do things in order to get people to buy their own system. So for Microsoft, it's Game Pass, it's buying all of Activision and Bethesda. They do that so people can buy Game Pass. Sony does their own way so they can get what they want and people to buy the system. So it seems like, reminds me of like a bitter ex-girlfriend, to be honest, like who's just really, it's like that one girl, you know, that, you know, that you're really upset for, like just a bitter ex, just in general, you know, like, listen, they bought them, you know, they bought them. That's it. They both do these type of things. At the end of the day, they both purchase exclusivity from third parties. They both do all this type of stuff. So you can't complain when you can't complain over one thing with another when you're doing the same thing and just in a different type of way, you know?
Right. Because there was apparently a lot of redacted information. I feel like they just started listing off games. Like, what about this one? What about this one? Final Fantasy VII Remake and any of the other.
Yeah,
games
I don't understand why people are trying to pick sides. Like, no, Microsoft is more wrong. No, Sony. No, guys. They both do this in their own different way.
There were some very interesting passages in these responses. I think they were more interesting than what they said about blocking games for Game Pass, which are more marketing deals. Like, there was one because I know over on like Reset Era, they did an entire like interpretation and translation because it was in all of this happened in Brazil, so they had to translate over to English. But one of them mentioned that Microsoft believes that Sony's isolated position can likely be explained by the fact that Microsoft's subscription game offering Game Pass was launched as Microsoft's competitive response to Xbox's failure in console wars and the need to offer players additional value compared to buy-to-play traditional model. So it's strange because in one way, Microsoft admits that the Xbox One was like a failing effort in the console wars, quote unquote, or just the competitive nature of selling a box. And that Game Pass was the pivot.
They got outsold by 70 million.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was more than 2-1. So
yeah, they got. So Microsoft. That's what happens when you get outsold, right? You got to think of some type of thing to get back into it. Game Pass was a way for them to get back into it.
Yeah, I looked at this and all I really saw from this were lawyers battling back and forth over this, and Sony just being in a very vulnerable position, and Microsoft's, I'm sure, very expensive lawyers just slapping them up continuously. Yeah. That's all it really was. It was just it was just like, probably, even if you look at it, it's like one of the easiest things to basically say Sony's the only one that has a problem. They're quoting exclusivity. They do exclusivity all the time. What are we doing here? That was basically all it was. Jordan, any thoughts on that? How do you feel about exclusivity in the gaming marketplace right now?
I don't know. I think it's definitely healthy to have consoles have their own reasons why you want to get them, or else you just buy one console. There needs to be a reason to sell you on other consoles, and it needs to be more than just console exclusive features or special things that one console can do that another can't. So I don't know. I've definitely had opinions on certain things in the past, but honestly, I don't care. I don't expect, if I want to play God of War, get a PlayStation. If I wanted Spider-Man, I would have just got a PlayStation, but now I can just get a PC. But no, I really don't care. Exclusives are fine.
I feel like exclusives were more of a pain when we were younger, I guess, and we only had one of the systems, because like if you're a younger gamer and you're kind of relying on your parents to buy,
the exclusives were better then, because a game on the Sega Genesis, well, not all the time, but sometimes a game on the Sega Genesis was completely different than it was on the Super Nintendo. Look at the Disney games, and Jurassic Park was completely different. So, it was, I don't know, it's such a weird thing. I do want to ask, Jordan, you're watching the stream back, right? Who are the two on the bottom? Because evidently the two people on the bottom, according to Low Cut, are big time Sony fanboys.
Oh, that's you and
take
me.
Them with
we're on the
How am I? When the fuck did I become a big time Sony fanboy?
I thought you were the Nintendo guy.
Just look at you.
Evidently,
you're wearing a blue hat, you Sony fanboy. You're wearing a blue hat. Hey, listen, let me tell you something right now, guys, about pulling this whole kid angle, John. Listen. If I suffered through this type of stuff growing up, y'all kids, y'all can suffer too. Yes, a lot of us didn't have money back in the day. A lot of us were broke. I grew up poor. I was very poor as a child. My parents did a good job of not telling me I was poor, but I kind of figured out, we're kind of poor. So I didn't have I didn't have a lot of money. I had to rent games. I had to mow lawns. I had to get bottles and stuff like that. And listen, if you ain't got enough money, in today's day, kids can find ways to make more money than kids could back then at any point. So I don't want to hear the whole, I don't have the money for every single. Well, then play what you can play. You're not supposed to have everything as a child. That's what teaches you hard work. You're not supposed to have everything. What the hell?
That's a very good point. You're not supposed to have everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't.
But
I
I
don't-
want everything, and that
That's not the
is
point.
what
I
I
had a
want.
Sega Genesis when I was a kid. I did not have a Super Nintendo. Would I have liked to play those games? Yes, you'd go over to a friend's house who had a Super Nintendo, and that's how I would learn about the games and stuff. But I just don't get it. I don't get the mentality of, exclusive bad. Everything needs to be on everything, because that's not the case. If that was the case, then we wouldn't need video game consoles. You would just have one device, probably a PC, and that device would have everything on it, and everyone would be scrapping and battling for it. Like, competition is good. Competition is healthy. Look at pro. I could equate this to pro wrestling. Look at pro wrestling right now. That Triple H is back in charge, or is in charge of WWE. The product has gotten substantially better already. So what does that mean? Well, the WWE is going to get better. Its competition with AEW is now going to have to up their game, because they even Tony Khan came out and said, yeah, WWE is putting on a good product right now. It's great to see, because it develops competition. I don't get it. Competition is good. You want exclusives. You want reasons to buy a system. If there wasn't exclusives, why would you buy a particular system?
You know why it was better back in the day with console exclusives? Because the consoles were actually different from each other in terms of like their architecture, and we would just argue about if one game could run on another system. Like, I remember back with the PS2, the GameCube, and the Xbox, there was so much talk about if Halo could run on a GameCube or something, because they were so different from it. Now they are all just mostly like the PlayStation, the Xbox, just PCs in little boxes basically. Yeah. I kind of miss those days of like Sony developing an emotion engine chip for the PS2 and creating. I know people don't like the cell processor and all of that because of what it's limited the PS3 to not being on with the PS4 and then 5. But even then, it was like, what could the cell do? Well, we have to rely on Sony's first-party studios to figure it out, because they're going to create specifically for it. And now it is like, I mean, God of War could run on the Xbox without too much issue.
Metro brings up a best point. I think the best instance of that was the PlayStation 1, the Sega Saturn, and the N64. All three were completely different. All three gave you completely different game experiences. And even looking at it retrospectively, I think it even shines more so how different all of those systems truly were. And yeah, there were multi-platform games for those systems, but there were also games where it's like, I wonder how this would perform on this system. I wonder what this game would look like on this system. So it was a fascinating.
I mean, you could even say, like, someone mentioned Nintendo and chat. You can even look at Nintendo right now and be like, they're just using an X1. It's known. Obviously, it's known because it's emulated all over the place, because it's an X1. But even something like that, we used to get like these weird custom designs from Nintendo, and sometimes good, sometimes bad. But like you said, the 64 versus the PS1 was such a weird time. But it was, looking back on it, it was so interesting.
Let's not forget the Saturn, the 2D powerhouse known as the Saturn. Look at games like Stall, absolutely gorgeous. All of the great arcade conversion, well, some of them weren't great, but all the arcade conversions on there. That's why you bought a Sega Saturn. You wanted to play Daytona US. You wanted to play your favorite arcade Sega games. You bought a Sega Saturn.
Or it was the only one left on the shelf during Christmas time.
Dude,
I barely knew anybody with the Sega Saturn, I'll be honest.
So my mom was like, I went to this weird like Christian school for like a year, I think it was, when I lived at a place in North Carolina. And so I was like in 4th grade, and my mom somehow was like one of the preschool teachers. She had never taught before. Obviously the standards were very low there. And I remember I was waiting for like school to start, and I was with her in her preschool class, and like some dude came in with like his little kid, and he looks at my mom, and he's like, yeah, I just bought a Sega Saturn. You ever heard of it? And like I kind of looked up, and I'm like, is he trying to woo my mom with a Sega Saturn? He's like, yeah, it comes with Daytona USA. It's pretty cool. It's just like the arcade version. I was like, this motherfucker is trying to woo my mom with a Sega Saturn. And I remember the Saturn was like $400 or something when it dropped. And I was so mad. I was like, how does this punk have a Sega Saturn and I don't? I was very jealous.
I remember there was one kid up the street who had it, and they're probably sitting pretty now, because they definitely had one of the Mega Man games with it.
Oh, dude, everything is.
Yeah.
Frank Thomas Big Hurt Baseball is a $20 game just because people want the case.
Ridiculous.
Big Hurt Baseball.
Yeah,
That's definitely a 90s title right there. Big Hurt Baseball. I heard on that baseball with Frank Thomas.
Well, Frank Thomas now, he does those testosterone commercials, so like everything has come full circle.
No, Frank Thomas was dope back in the day.
Yo, he was awesome.
Yeah,
He was one of the
yeah, he was great.
classic
He was great
white
player.
box.
He was a big old dude, just hit home runs all the time.
Yeah.
There was also one part of the response from Microsoft because Sony says they couldn't compete with their Game Pass model, and Microsoft basically gave them advice and said, put your games on their day one, you'll be all right. So that's basically what they said in the writing.
We can't compete with them, even though we have a service that's also kind of
basically
similar.
that's what Microsoft said. Yeah, they were like, they introduced a direct competitor. Go ahead and put your games on the day one, see what happens.
There's nothing to back that up because Sony titles usually sell very well. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like they're hurting for business. I mean, let's be realistic. Right now, the PlayStation 5 is arguably has the better library when it comes to exclusives than the Xbox Series X. So it's like you're worried about something that may happen because Microsoft is acquiring all of these studios and stuff like that. But it's like, yo, that's business, okay? That's how business works. Philly Spencer said that some of the games are still gonna stay multi-platform.
They put it in here in writing that Call of Duty will stay on PlayStation, like in this writing with regulators.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
But I mean, what are we complaining? It's not like Sony doesn't have a first-person shooter or two that they used to make. Resistant, Killzone. I don't recall those on Xbox.
They know that Killzone and Resistance have absolutely nothing when it comes to sales. Quality wise, yeah, those can be better than Call of Duty. I like Resistance and Killzone way better than I like Call of Duty. But they know sales wise they can't. A lot of Sony's look at the best sellers. Look at the PS4 bestseller. Look at the PS3 bestseller. Look at the PS4 bestseller. Look at PS5's best-selling games. Call of Duty.
But look at it from an exclusivity standpoint, as far as like the past, I guess you could say 10 years, where a game has released on the Xbox platform and a game has released on the PlayStation platform, or a game is exclusive to Xbox and a game is exclusive to PlayStation. What sells better? What's moving more software? It's always PlayStation. At least 9 times out of 10, it's always PlayStation. I would be hard pressed to think of an actual game that doesn't sell better on PlayStation that's multi-platform that's also available for Xbox. So it to me, it's just worrying about something that doesn't exist right now. And
but it's going to exist, Sean.
But is it?
Yes.
Sony seems to think it's going to.
Why wouldn't you think it's going to? If I'm a businessman and I've got this Game Pass and I've got Call of Duty and I've got this and I've got all these franchises, why wouldn't I eventually put it on exclusive on PC? And why wouldn't I? Unless the only way would be like if they're obviously, there's money to be made off that platform and they make money off of it, that would be it. But if it's like a new generation and you're starting at ground zero.
Yeah, I think what they're saying is I think Sony's concerned that Call of Duty is going to go on Game Pass day one and they'll be selling a $70 copy of it day one.
Yeah, that's part. All of it is part of it. It can be like even when the next systems come out, are they going to just like make Call of Duty exclusive after their deal runs out? I think it's like 3 years or something. They can totally do that. So they're worried about a number of things. And it looks bad, right? Like it looked bad even with their own game. What was it, MLB, the show?
Yeah, that was a little bad.
It looked bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because they developed the game too. Sony did. So
and it was on Game Pass. So...
I mean, I gotta admit, Call of Duty, it's coming. We believe it's coming every year. Next year they're gonna do something a little different. But if we're just to go by past history, most of us, I think, are like, Game Pass, because it's going to come out with another one next year anyway. So it's rather than buy it over and over again.
But that's assuming you have an Xbox.
I mean, you can have it on PC as well, right?
Yeah.
PC doesn't count. I'm talking about video game consoles.
It's gonna be
consoles only.
It's going to, but isn't Game Pass their console?
That's what I was gonna say, because it's integrated into TVs and crap. I'm playing games right here while streaming.
Good.
I just think this Call of Duty thing is just such a non-issue when it comes to the bigger picture. Like, sure, is it being free on one console? Maybe, potentially. Is that going to affect some sales on the PlayStation? Sure. If people have both consoles, or if someone wants to not outright buy the game, sure, that is an option. But there's a lot of people that just have PlayStations. That's where they like to play, and they're going to spend the $70 because they like to play Call of Duty on the PlayStation. Mm-hmm. I don't think they need to be this worried or they're scared losing marketing rights or having a competitor have the game for free, because the people who still play on PlayStation and that's what they choose to play on are still going to buy it on PlayStation.
So Jordan, I agree, but I think that Sony's scared that it can sway people from buying it on Xbox. I think that's one of Sony's arguments. Not that I agree with it, but that's what they're saying. They're saying, hey, well, if they get it, it's going to sway it to where they're not going to play it on PlayStation anymore.
That's such a small percentage. There's differences. There's people who prefer controllers, prefer consoles. There's going to be so many of that in there that I know that if you gave something for free, you have to change up the complete way you play and all that other stuff on a different console. People are not going to outright switch if they want to play on the PlayStation. It's going to affect a small part of it, but it's such a non-worrying thing. I understand not having the marketing rights because that's a big part of it, but who cares? They've gone back and forth fighting over Battlefield rights in the past before. It's just more business. Get something else and get the marketing rights for it for the next big third-party game.
Or figure out a way to compete. If you're that scared of Call of Duty, make your own game and make it better than Call of Duty. Make it the new big competitive shooter.
What old shooter from Sony do you bring back? You can only pick one. Pick one. Which one?
I would bring back Killzone because it was always a graphical showcase anyway.
It's got to be one of their live service games. That's obviously why they would push it.
Killzone would be Killzone would be the game. I mean, they have Destiny, but they say that's still going to stay multi-plat.
Yeah.
You know?
Resistance just can't catch a break. Maybe they just got to bring them up. Just like get the old ones and bring them up to the PS5.
Resistance is fantastic. I think that Resistance would be good too. I just think that Killzone, I guess, would be a little bit. If you're trying to compete with Call of Duty, I guess Killzone might be the game. You know?
Yeah. It's either Killzone or SOCOM. I think they're gonna pick one or the other. I mean, SOCOM's third person though. Do you think they? I'd be curious. No. I'm curious if they take it first person.
No, don't even do SOCOM if you're going to do it first person.
SOCOM would need to come back as a really cool third person, shooter.
That'll just make
That'd be great.
It's fine.
Oh, well. They can do that. You're right. They're probably going to do that, to be honest.
I like the idea of Killzone. Maybe they get that together. That's the live service. They just call it just Killzone, not numbered or anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Killzone Unlimited, Infinite, whatever. To signify that it's going to be ongoing. Boom. There you go. And they're off and running. I don't know. I'd be okay with that. I hope that if anything.
And then that's a game that's not available on Xbox.
There you go. I hope if anything, this would just spur Sony to make a game so that would be multiplayer centric, because they've been kind of down on multiplayer games in the last 3 or 4 years.
It looks like they're setting up for it though.
They are. But like Destruction
What about
All-Stars,
the Last of Us multiplaire? Is that going to be available on my Xbox? It's such a stupid thing to me.
Where's factions? I mean, like I said, it mostly blew up I'd say out of proportion, because it's there's exclusives that exist, and I'm sure Sony's paid quite a bit of money to keep stuff off of Game Pass, but I think Call of Duty goes to Xbox, and it's going to be an interesting generation then. So we'll see how that turns out. Let me go to a Discord question here. This is from Carl saying, how would you feel about the Boys game made by Insomniac?
It could be fun.
Everyone wants Insomniac to make the superhero kind of games, huh?
Yeah.
The Boys is such a weird concept, because it's not all just about superhero fighting stuff. It's a lot of drama too.
They'd have to take you and be like, all right, you're now a new member of the Seven, and you make your character. Yeah. And that's how they'd probably have to do it. And you're technically, maybe you could be good or bad. They have a morale system. I don't know.
I think a sucker punch would be the better.
Ooh.
Maybe a Mass Effect style type of game. I'm not really sure how that would work.
Sucker Punch. Yeah, everyone just goes to Insomniac immediately. And I guess just because they've proven themselves as Spider-Man, but they're going to become the superhero studio now, is probably what it's going to be.
Yeah. With a Ratchet and Clank thrown in there every so often.
Shout out to Andrew, who says, hear that Noah Lands wants something a bit meatier. Yeah, I hear that in my sleep at this point.
I hear I'm the girl with the gall.
Yeah.
I hear that in my sleep.
Man. This one's from Commander saying, why is G currency so useless in Xenoblade 3? Is that just the gold? The gold that we use to buy stuff?
Yes, it's just the coins.
I just buy accessories. Isn't that what I just buy accessories with it, right?
You can buy accessories. Yeah, there's not really much, because a lot of times you can just get things from drops.
Yeah, or the side quests and stuff you're doing too. And
some of the side quests. So,
and I think about it, I have a lot of that piled up, because I'll go to the vendor and I'll look and I'll be like, some of my stuff's already better than this.
Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of times it's like level 1, like common stuff, but there are like better items, but that's like Nopon coins and all that, you know?
yeah. This is from Nerd saying, why did Sony come up with a false name for the X button and call it cross? It will always be X after memorizing the GTA cheat codes on PS2. It's always been cross, apparently. I remember that came out on Twitter, last year or something, where they mentioned it, and then everyone went into like manuals to check, and every manual you went into, it just showed the picture of the button. They didn't even try to take sides with it. Apparently it's cross. I guess if you think about it, it's all symbols on the controller, so it's circle, square, triangle, and then cross.
Mhm.
I don't know. That was a big talking point. I always called it X though. Like I never went like, yeah, now press cross.
And it's not O, it's circle.
I get circle. It's just
What
shapes.
a world we're living in.
Right?
No wonder we're all going over to the Xbox for Call of Duty. I'm out.
And then this one's from Zoob saying how important are alternate modes, single player co-op, 1v1, player hubs, housing, battle royale, asymmetric, etc. to the success of a premium priced, primarily team versus team game. P.S. I already love Deep Cut Splatoon 3 idols. This is about Splatoon 3. So why don't we go into the Splatoon 3 talk? I was hoping Click would be here, but she's not. Had some
Okay,
words.
I love Splatoon. I put hundreds and hundreds of hours into the game.
Yeah,
But I'm not as good as Click though.
Well, Evan's not here either. Evan's like the Splatoon savant somehow. I don't know how this happened. But I've already got a copy coming for him, so we can ride his coattails to like top rank. But we had the Splatoon 3 reveal. I wanted Click to be here because she had some words on Twitter. I said a very neutral and respectable thing for Splatoon, and she came in talking about Halo. I don't know what that was. I just said
Definitely felt a bit disrespected.
I
Just
said
feel like
it-
you're not putting the respect. John, you know about respect?
I said it-
Birdman?
I
You're
said
not
it-
putting the respect on Splatoon's name.
Let me pull this
Put
up.
respect on my name.
Let me read that. I'm gonna get this tweet. Hold on.
John, you got to watch that Breakfast Club interview. It'll be a lot funnier when you watch it.
I just said, yep, that was definitely Splatoon. That's all I said. And Click comes in and says, okay, you get Halo content one day, or one day you'll get Halo content. I just said it looks like that was definitely Splatoon. I double checked. The logo says Splatoon 3, so Splatoon is in there. If I put that up, it's definitely Splatoon.
Not helping your case. He's going to come back even more upset at you.
Should have put controversy. You should have figured out a way to put it in there.
So I've decided, I've been writing jokes all week. I've decided that if Splatoon 3 does not get a higher Metacritic score than Halo Infinite, I'm gonna unleash jokes on it for the next year.
What's Halo Infinite's score?
86.
86. Okay, that might be a bit tough to beat.
It's
but
gonna be
it can do it.
interesting. I think
Yeah,
it can.
reverse.
I think it
Need to
can.
reverse those
Because you're
numbers, man.
basing Halo reviews on the day one content. That's insane.
Yeah, I know. So one of the jokes is Splatoon 3 couldn't stand up to about 30% of Halo Infinite. That's all it is.
Okay.
But I think Splatoon 3 has a chance to get above that because Splatoon 2 was like an 82 or an 83 or something.
Yeah.
So Splatoon 3 looks significantly better than 2 from what I'm seeing right now.
I don't know. I was told that
But-
that could have been in an email.
That was the other thing.
I gotta
Okay,
call
okay.
Out, I got to call that out.
Okay, so
Fucking-
I don't know. Sean's right because I said it looked like Splatoon. I didn't say anything bad about this game, right? People come in and say, "Well, it looks like a sequel. Why are you doing all this stuff?" Kit's over here saying could have been in an email. People telling him to buy a hat. All right, I was being very, very nice about Splatoon, and he just said it could have been a footnote in an email
Which
on
is
Monday.
it's so dumb because all of these people were bitching that we need this reveal. Like you couldn't have done that.
I don't think he was. He? I don't think he was he?
What?
I think
Well,
I think Kit's been down on Splatoon 3.
Yeah, he's never really liked Splatoon much. He's not a fan of it. So I mean,
God
you have
damn
to-
if he wouldn't act like it when he was getting a paycheck from him.
Oh, come on. There's no need to do it. He's working for them.
So you can't. You fuck, man. Like,
I don't
shit
even
like
know
that.
who we're talking about.
The dude who Kit and Krista. Kit.
Oh.
I like them.
From
I like
Nintendo.
them.
I
like
don't
both
know
of
them.
Yeah, their
and,
podcast
you
is
know.
their podcast is interesting just because they have stories from like E3 and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
listen, he never really liked it. So I mean, it's fine. You know, he's not as big of a fan of it, and you know, he clearly from the beginning, just to explain his standpoint just a little bit. Not saying that I agree, but just to explain his standpoint a little bit. You know, he's he never really felt true like, oh my gosh, this is like he loves Splatoon in terms of the gameplay. It's a multiplayer game, and I think that when people look at like a multiplayer game, I think in today's day, because of all the games that do get updates, they kind of forgot what a sequel is and automatically think that everything can just be an update, and not when when it can't. If you've played Splatoon 2, like you can't just update the stuff. Well, they probably would have already done it. And once again, the graphics are much better, but they fundamentally fix. I mean, this is like code type of stuff. That's the issues with the online multiplayer. They added a firing range when you go to, when you go to play your friends and everything. They added like the little ghost things to where you can hop into it. I mean, it's not something that you can just add. I mean, you'd have to completely redo the game anyway. So that's like a new game. So just make the next game.
It looks like the social features, lobbies, invite. That's all like significantly better from what they were showing.
And then like brand new campaign. They've got brand new Splatfest. How the Splatfest even operate and work.
I don't know. I'm a little concerned about like the lobbies though, because they're letting more than 2 people in there. They're not following the formula that's been set by the best-selling Mario sports game ever with Mario Strikers.
That's why you guys, all of you crazy Mario sports fans, you guys expect too much from these Mario sports games. They've never been anything more than what they are. Play a little bit with your friends. They've never been anything more than
can't
that.
play
It's
with
not
my
my fault you
friends.
guys hyped yourself up for Mario sports when it's never been more than what it is. A little sports game to play with your friends.
You can't BS your way through that statement. You cannot accept the Mario games the way they've been coming out for the sports series.
Oh, I can absolutely accept them for
cannot.
where they are.
There's an understanding that, like, yes, they're the sports games you turn on, but they are featureless, they are characterless, they have so many issues at launch, and a year after the games come out, then they're maybe worth the value at that point. It's not defendable where the games are now versus where the sports games were last generation, the generation before, the generation before that.
Jordan, I'm not defending it. I'm saying I don't expect anything from them. I wish that they added all that stuff in there. All that stuff that I'm never going to play.
You should expect it. We shouldn't complacent like, all right, you gave us part of the game.
Listen, just like you don't care about what Microsoft and Sony did, I don't care about Mario sports games. I don't.
But that doesn't mean the statement.
About Mario sports games like you guys
but I don't expect these other instances to be lackluster when they make these decisions. Like with these games, they're just not defendable. Being like, well, you shouldn't have expected much more than that.
No, people can expect whatever they want, and you can demand whatever I agree with all of you guys' videos, and I even said the same criticisms that you're saying right now. I said it too. I'm just saying, stop acting like Mario sports games aren't Splatoon. They're not that. They're never going to be that. They're never going to invest
the same though. Price the same.
Yeah, then don't. Then it's not worth it. Then don't buy it. That's what I'm.
I didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
That's it. I learned my lessons with Aces.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you learn your lesson. Like,
yeah, I don't expect shit from these games anymore until it comes out and everyone's like, wow, this actually has all the features and a bunch of characters, and it doesn't feel like a half-baked game that has content coming out later. Then cool. But I should expect when I'm paying $60 or $70 for a game that it is the games, like, especially when they've made these games before and it's had all these things, and now we're getting less and less of them.
What Mario sports game had everything? They've all been pretty.
Just for the times when they come out, I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to wait for updates or new additions to get the rest of the features that were shown off or promised or were there in the talking points when they first shut off the game.
Yeah, that's because there was no online back then.
But that's not the problem I'm talking about. See, now we're just gonna keep jumping into it's this time. That was the time, and we're in a different time now where we shouldn't sit here going, well,
we're in a time period where Halo launches with nothing. We're in a time period where Overwatch launches with nothing. We're in a time period with all these games launch with damn near nothing, and they all do updates.
Shit, it doesn't mean we should sit here and expect like, oh, can't wait for this half-baked Halo game to come out, and I'm gonna really enjoy this half-baked aspect of it.
Just saying, this is how multiplayer games are today. Jordan, I agree with you in what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. What you're saying is correct. What I'm saying is that this is just how multiplayer games are. It just is. Sure, and if you disagree with me, I mean, let's stop all the multiplayer games in today's day. Splatoon's the most feature complete game.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I'm not talking about Splatoon.
All platforms.
I was just only specifically making up the defense of incomplete games and being okay with that they're incomplete. Oh, don't expect much from these games. Just get them how they are. You jump in, you jump out. That's where my issues lie. If Splatoon comes out feature full, fantastic. If it comes out feature less full, then it'll be like, oh, what happened here? This is a disappointment. This wasn't like 2. 2 had a lot. And if 3 doesn't have a lot in it or doesn't have what it's lived up to be, that's not good. And we shouldn't be like, well, you should have expected it.
Listen, Mario sports games, I agree with you, Jordan. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I agree with you. What I'm saying is that Mario sports games are just that. Splatoon 1 came out and had more than most Mario sports games would ever have.
Not at launch. Not at launch.
It had a good single with Mario sports games. I mean, some of them, right? Some of them have had like single players. They've had good multiplayers. Like some of them have had that, but I've never really seen been enamored with anything that they've done from that standpoint. So I personally didn't expect it. If other people want to expect it, that's fine. I agree with you on that sense. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, hey, look, this has been how it is, because they don't invest in these Mario sports games. Splatoon is like a multi-million, it's like 10 million plus. No Mario sports games ever sold like that. So they invest in that. They don't invest in these stupid Mario sports games like that. And I wish they did, but they don't.
The thing I was saying was Splatoon 1, when it launched, there wasn't much going on. I remember reviewing it and being like, well, I like the concept. The graphics look nice, but where's the meat and potatoes with it? So I feel like it's something that has been lingering, and there was no guarantee that Splatoon was going to be super successful. Now, obviously, they rectified that with 2 and the subsequent 3, which I think
you called it game of the year for Splatoon 3 in your video.
Look at this. I didn't say it was going to win game of the year. I said it could be in talks for game of the year, and I fully stand by that, especially when you look at what this year has brought us or what it hasn't brought us, because now all of a sudden it's cool to say that 2022 is a disappointment. But when I fucking said it, no, you're the best year ever.
If Splatoon 3
this year's been good,
comes in at an 85 on Metacritic, Halo Infinite should be in the game of the year talks then, is what you're saying.
If Splatoon 3 scores lower than Halo and it doesn't have like a fundamentally flawed feature in it,
Halo Infinite,
we need to abolish Metacritic. We need to abolish these websites because they're fucking morons.
You know what? I've decided I want Halo Infinite in the game of the year, the ballot, just to see how the internet reacts. Much like I wanted Cyberpunk in there last year. I was trying. I pushed hard for Cyberpunk.
Part of interesting though, because now we have a game like Splatoon that has the single player, has multiplayer, has all of that, and now people say it should just be an update and it's now something different. Like, isn't this what people wanted in the multiplayer games? Or in these games, they wanted a bunch of content and all this stuff, right? And I guess it's like there, but now there's like issues with it. Should have just been an update, not a new game. I mean, I'm kind of mixed on when it comes to these online games or when it comes to what people are expecting going forward. It's like, listen, look, the game's there. They're offering what they offer. If you want to buy it, you can buy it.
We go through this every year with Call of Duty.
I was about to say, is this just like Nintendo fans' first like Call of Duty experience, where like another game in the series comes out and it's very similar to the last game?
Well, I mean,
like a sequel.
I mean, if you think about it, for like I mean, it's not like Nintendo makes shooters like that. Like this is a third person shooter, obviously, but like even third parties don't, like, you don't see Call of Duty every year on the Switch, right? So I mean, kinda, but we go through this every time with Call of Duty. We went through with Halo. People were like, this just looks like Halo again. And it's like, I mean, yeah, I don't really know what you're gonna do in the first person shooter genre necessarily, because Splatoon's competitive. You can't really mess with the core concept much. You can add wrinkles in, like they have the 180 turn, which looks great. The ability to blast up a wall very quickly. And then just an overall, I would say, better infrastructure when it comes to inviting friends in, customizing, expressing yourself, all that stuff. I was hoping MVG would be here because I wanted to ask him how that would be from developer standpoint of like, you'd start over kind of, with assets, obviously, that you can reuse and build from the ground up. That's kind of what I'm seeing with Splatoon 3, more or less, is them going back to the drawing board and figuring out what people were not enjoying about Splatoon 2. And obviously, a lot of that was the online. So they're like, well, let's make it better. I mean, they have some new maps. They have 5 new maps, I think. And then the others are pulled from the previous 2.
Yeah,
So
12.
Yeah.
12
So,
on day one,
Yeah.
which is way more than Halo Infinite still has now.
What did Halo Infinite do?
You are the one who keeps bringing it up in the 86 Metacritic.
I'm just assuming Splatoon 3 is going to beat that. Because if
it
not,
might not.
I might need Sean to show up and be like, you know what, Halo Infinite might be a game.
No, it might not because people pick and choose when content is important or not. So like, it might not.
Also, somebody
Like,
said in the
sometimes
chat,
sometimes it's very important. Sometimes you need it, and then other times, well, it's the same thing.
That's
Why
true.
it looks the same?
some people are saying in the chat that, hey, Halo came out last year, but it came out after the Game Awards, so it's technically up for this year. So it could be absolute mayhem at the Game Awards. It's very possible because if you remember last year, Halo Infinite won the Player's Choice Award where everyone votes to go through the brackets. The year before that, that was the category that Fire Emblem won at one point. It was Halo Infinite last year. So, I mean, people will be mad at it, but I don't know. We'll see. Hey, Splatoon 3, I think it looks good. I'm on board with it. I'm ready to play it. Yeah. Also, you know what I noticed? This is really strange to me because we went from the Wii U generation where there was, I mean, Nintendo seemed kind of opposed to the idea of games just being online. Like Mario, remember Super Mario 3D World when that came out and there was no online and everyone was like, why is there no online? Now it just seems like Nintendo's putting out a bunch of online games. Like a lot of multiplayer stuff's coming out of there now. Even smaller things like the Kirby buffet game. Like that's just a little $15 thing, but I mean, it's an online multiplayer game.
Isn't that coming out next week?
Yes, this week coming up. Yeah, it's like a little Fall Guys Mario Party looking Kirby game. I don't know. It's $15. Looks kind of fun. But it's something else that's online enabled. So we went from last generation where it was mostly, Xbox and PlayStation doing a lot of multiplayer stuff, and now it's like Nintendo's doing all the multiplayer stuff.
I mean, what was the game that got Nintendo into the multiplayer stuff? Bringing it all back full circle. Splatoon.
I don't know. Probably Smash Brothers and us complaining about the online.
Oh man, Smash Brawl.
Yeah, that was
goodness gracious. I think internet wasn't the infrastructure and internet wasn't quite ready, but yeah.
I mean, Splatoon, it really does come down to these shooters. Like the shooters, it can attract that competitive scene, and then they're like, well, we gotta now we really gotta build on this thing, and that's what they've been doing. They have had 3 Splatoon games now in 10 years, I think. Then right? So,
a little bit less than 10 years.
Yeah, so they're rolling with this franchise.
8.
Yeah,
8 years. 2015. We first saw Splatoon. I think it was 2014. I remember playing at E3.
Yeah.
And just being like, what the hell is this? I think it was 2014.
Yeah.
And then it came out 2015.
Yep. So, I mean, I'm hopeful now because I'm seeing all this online. I'm kind of hopeful for games that we might not have expected to have online to get it. Like, Metroid Prime 4 is going to make an appearance at some point. I wonder, you guys think that has an online multiplayer aspect to it too?
It damn well better.
No, I'm not even saying co-op. Like, what if it has like an arena shooter style?
What if it doesn't? What if it doesn't, Sean?
It damn well better.
What if it doesn't?
I'll be very disappointed that we haven't progressed past the superior system of the Nintendo DS, which had an online multiplayer Metroid Prime Hunters.
Okay, so what game's better, Metroid Prime on the DS or Metroid Prime on like GameCube? Like,
if I want to play multiplayer, it's the DS one.
No, just which game is better?
The multiplayer is on the DS.
No, which game's better? I just want to know. I'm honestly asking. It's not a gotcha question. I just want to know which one's better.
I put. Crazy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I put thousands. And that's no hyperbole. Thousands of hours into Metroid Prime Hunters online. I'll leave it at that.
And your wrist still works and everything? You're fine?
Oh, barely.
Dude, that
jerked off a lot. Really strengthened it.
I would play it more. I would play it more. I mean, I will say this, Sean, to your point, to your credit. I think I definitely, if they had, like, let's just say that was like remade, like a remake on the Switch, like with good graphics and everything and all that.
No, it had like 30 fucking maps in that game.
I think I would play that like a lot if they remade and it was like not on the DS, you know? Because like I just can't put my hands too big. I just can't play
everything for the Switch.
Built-in voice chat right there with the Nintendo DS, with a little microphone.
Well, we wouldn't get that, but
no,
we get the voice chat app. Let's go.
Now someone asked about Jeff is on stream. Jeff can come on stream if he wants. It's up to him. Sometimes people just want to kind of hang out, type here and there in the chat.
He might be topless.
Yell at Sean. Jeff Grove's always welcome if he wants to pop in. It's fine. Yeah, see, he's driving home. See? You can't be getting on chat when you're driving in the stream. I'm on board with Splatoon. We got the information. Even things like, I don't know, the card game. What do you think, Sean? You in on that?
I hate card games,
Okay, good.
but it looks like Tetris, so it's not.
It's kind of like a puzzle. It seems like you're gonna play and like you'll get packs as you either win matches or get enough currency or whatever. I don't know. It seems like an extra thing that could be fun, and it looks like it's just cosmetic stuff that's tied to it. So I'm on board with that too. I don't know. It's an extra thing. Could be fun. We'll see. Otherwise, just ignore it and we just do Splatfest or whatever. I don't know. We have the event later on this month. It's gonna be 3. It's rock, paper, scissors. What's everyone going?
Rock.
I'm going rock as well. Team rock. It's rock, paper, scissors. Jordan, what are you?
I don't know.
What? I don't know.
Rock.
Okay, good. There you go. We're all in. I mean, if we're gonna play, I guess we have to be on the same. Do we have to be on the same one? I assume we do.
I guess.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna play this. What's it? 2 weeks from now. Yeah, we'll play it 2 weeks from now, and I'm sure we'll have some thoughts then for the podcast. But I think it's shaping up to be a good game for Nintendo. I'm looking forward to it. Gonna do big numbers. I already know that. It's the second one's like 14. No, it's like 13.5 million or something like that. I think it's just behind Ring Fit Adventure, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna do really well. Japan, the numbers are gonna be crazy on the charts. And it'll be big for Nintendo. So, and we're gonna have 2 years of content after it launches. They already announced the paid DLC because why not? I don't know. That's just, this the way it goes. And hey, big time live service game from Nintendo coming in.
Live service? What?
Live service.
What?
Nintendo making it happen.
What?
Making it happen. Let's see. Oh, I do need to go to the super chat at some point too. I got some more Discord questions over here. This is from Mike saying, "Great Xbox 360 video. I remember trading my GameCube in for a 360." Little palm face there. BioShock was my first game, and I was absolutely blown away. I mean, yeah, BioShock was a ridiculous experience for the first time. Over the years,
good idea. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you see the 360 is nice and shiny, the visuals and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, Microsoft had Xbox Arcade, and they had amazing games on there. Bomberman Live was a great online experience, and so was South Park, Let's Go Tower Defense. Do you think Microsoft will bring back some of the older arcade games? Can we still get the South Park game back into existence? Can we will that back, South Park game? I don't remember playing that South Park game. I wouldn't mind them going back, but some of those are licensing issues. Like, they'd have to get up.
Doritos Crash Course 1 and 2?
That one, yeah. They have to go back and renew licensing. I don't know if it's to them it's worth it for older arcade games, but I think it'd be fun to do it. Why not? Eric says, do you think Hogwarts Legacy is getting delayed? I do. I think it's getting delayed. I think it's next year. I think it's coming out.
You sure?
Dude, that was good timing. This is on the 11th of August they asked this question. Wow, that's like a day before it actually got delayed. So shout out to Eric.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Like, eerily accurate with that question for timing. Hogwarts Legacy coming out next year now, February. Another game missing the cut here. There were some talks that I think it was over on Kind of Funny where they mentioned that they had talked to developers and some were being pushed away from God of War or concerns around launching with it. That wouldn't shock me necessarily.
Can't launch next to God of War. It's going to destroy us. That happened to...
Oh, dude.
They're completely different games. I don't think the little fucking Harry Potter kid with his little wand is like, I want to play God of War.
No, but
who has the marketing rights?
Who has the marketing rights?
Yeah, if Sony has the marketing rights,
they do.
Okay,
so,
that's different.
Yeah, so they're just pushing it aside.
Well, they were probably like, it's either coming out November or December, and Sony's like, neither of those.
I mean, that was Forspoken. I mean, Forspoken got pushed because of that too.
Oh gosh, Forspoken.
I think Forspoken got pushed for other reasons.
I was gonna say.
I don't know. I think they're ready to.
More of a
well,
push.
we also had
that script.
While we're on the topic of delays, Marvel Midnight Suns got pushed too.
Damn it, man! That was my game
and
of
then
the year.
Metal Slug Tactics got pushed.
Hey, yo, that game actually looks kind of lit though.
Marvel
Advance
Midnight
Wars?
Suns?
Yeah.
It's cards.
Sean's mad about this.
No.
card thing, right?
Listen. It's cards, but it's like XCOM with cards.
It's like Metal Gear.
Acid.
The fuck is his name? Acid.
Yeah.
And Acid 2 that I forced myself to like, and that's why I hate card games.
But no, it's not like Pokemon the trading card game.
Oh,
I know,
that game
it's
was
like
awesome.
Acid.
Gotta get that on the Switch Online.
It looks. Have you seen the gameplay of it? They haven't showed much. Have you seen the gameplay, Sean?
Yeah, I've seen the little. I've seen mostly the
They
cinematic
might.
trailers.
I almost wonder if they delayed it again to, I don't want to say rework, but maybe lower the I guess the reliance on a card system, like hide it a little better. Maybe, I don't know. It's
I don't know, man. I was watching there's a bigger, like, not really known gameplay trailer that they showed. And yes, there's cards, but it has full 3D graphics. It looks like it's XCOM just with Marvel.
Yeah.
You know? That's what it
It's
looks
kind of
like.
Phantom,
Yeah, there's some
it's
cards.
like
but-
Phantom Dust, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
A
Yeah.
little bit, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, it looks really cool. Like, the concept seems like corny, right? Cards and like XCOM, like, it seems corny, but the gameplay actually looks legit, and like the graphics look great too. So I mean, I don't know. I think it might be. I mean, it's Firaxis making the game, so these are the guys that made, you know, the good XCOM game. So I think the game is going to be solid when it comes out.
It's funny because I feel like in 2021 we were all like 2022 is going to be this massive year. And now, I mean, 2023 looks like it should be a massive year, right? Like that.
Nothing is guaranteed, my friend.
I know, but like just off the top of my head, we just talked about these games getting pushed 2023. Spider-Man, new one coming out. You got Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Think that's coming out next
2.
year?
I have to give Insomniac the benefit of the doubt because they have been on point so far to hold up the PS5. Let's be real.
I think
They've been
Spider-Man is
crushing
a holiday game next year. No
I think so,
doubt.
too.
Between September and the holiday season, easy.
But is it enough? Will they do enough, or is this a Splatoon situation?
Oh, good question. Good question. That'd be interesting.
Get your controversy tag ready for that
let's
one.
Go. Let's go. I mean, it's gonna be PS5 only, right? So I assume.
What's Xbox gonna do? They can't compete with a Spider-Man game.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get online and complain about it, I think.
Yep.
I like Starfield and Redfall and Banjo-Kazooie and
Yeah, Starfield, Redfall, really?
hey, that's like the first couple of releases next year, right?
Is it? Are you sure about
I
that?
don't know. I like to think that Starfield's in the first half, but I don't know. I mean, at this point, I think it's just ready when it's ready.
I see June earliest for Starfield.
Okay.
The summer release, I could see that.
Okay.
Isn't June still technically spring? For
So
It's like the
companies?
first 2 weeks of June or something like
Yeah.
that.
Where I live,
Yeah.
like June, like I don't know. It gets hot
I
soon,
don't
so
know.
I say June's like
Nintendo
summer.
said Splatoon's coming out in summer and it's coming out in September, but technically it's still summer. So they keep saying seasons. Who knows? It's coming out whenever.
Starfield November 2023 is what a lot of people are saying.
Ooh,
I think you're probably right.
November. Wow.
There's a good chance of that happening too.
Interesting.
You got Scorn. Scorn's
Sean,
coming
Forza's
out.
next year too.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
looking
go.
forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
We getting the
'cause-
wheel. We getting the whole set.
Yeah, well, I mean, all I gotta do is buy a new wheel.
All right, we're
So
in.
it'll work with my rig. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
I'll play
game.
some Forza. We could do that online. That could be fun.
Yeah.
This is from. Oh gosh, that's right. Sid says, any idea when Advance Wars will likely drop? December. Push it out the door. Get to next year.
It come out December 30th or 31st this year.
Push it out the door.
Just-
We're out.
I still
it.
want it. I'm still desperate to get
I
that
know. There were some like retail leaks where they were apparently like next year, 2023. I'm like, it's just. I feel like you get it out of the way in December, just push it out the door, and then roll into January with some sort of direct or something. You know?
Man, those two are still fighting too, by the way. That's the worst part.
Yeah, so Nintendo's kind of
They
like, what do we do with this now?
They
Great.
still fighting. Like, ain't nobody tired? Can't go home? God,
You feel
dang.
I feel like if Nintendo had just bit the bullet, just like release it, by now no one would even be like talking about it anymore. Nintendo just
I
moved
don't think
on.
I think besides Polygon and Kotaku, nobody would have talked about it early anyways.
I feel like
No,
it's,
is anyone going to say anything when Call of Duty comes out this year? Like, oh, these sons of bitches are the so insensitive. No, they're going to play their fucking Call of Duty that actually looks like a war game instead of a cartoon fucking game.
they are
Like,
literally going to launch a game called Warzone 2.
yeah, like, that's fine. Advance Wars, no sir.
Yeah, I feel like they probably could have just released it and moved on, and it would have been like a week of back and forth, and that would have been it. But now they're kind of holding on to it because they've decided to make that move. So it's like it'll be here someday. I mean, Nintendo sat on games for up to a year and a half before, so they'll probably hang out with it. And let's finish up with this one, and then we'll go to the next topic. Hot Sauce says, with Sony getting into the PC space more and more, even allowing DualSense adaptive triggers and haptic feedback in Spider-Man on Steam, how do they explain it giving better than next-gen experiences with newer GPUs coming out, and you still can't really buy a PS5. Shout out to Hot Sauce for the question there. They explain giving better than next-gen experience with newer GPUs coming out, and you still can't buy. Oh, I see what you're saying. So the GPUs are going to get announced here soon, probably by NVIDIA, the 4000 series. I think only one of them is going to launch this year. It might be the 4090, and then they'll drop the 4080 next year. But they're going to be significantly more powerful in the consoles. Like you're going to look at that and be like, hey, they'll have completely conquered 4K, and this will be a push to 8K. I mean, this is the way it is. But they'll have 4K, 120, and or 144, and all of this. I mean, it just comes down to simplicity of you're not going to buy a 4000 series for less than the PS5. So you go on cost of the PS5 and you go on convenience, and that's basically what's kept consoles around as it is. Some people, I'll tell you now, they don't want to put a video card in a system. They don't want to deal with Windows. They just want to sit on the couch and play games after work. That's all it is. I've sold a lot of consoles to people who that's their mentality.
It's mine.
There you go.
That's my mentality. I got like a 30. What do I got? What do I have? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I got a 30. I got a 38. I haven't played a single damn thing. I don't care. Just give me a console. Let me get my PS5, my Switch, or my Xbox, and that's that.
Yeah, I think at times, because we're also plugged into gaming, and you know, you'll set up your PC all nice and everything. You're like, this is great. Why would anyone play anything different? And it's like, well, there's the mainstream who's like, I want to play, you know, the Switch in handheld mode, and that's it, kind of thing, you know. So there is a large mainstream who doesn't necessarily want to get in the weeds when it comes to setting up their stuff. So, and okay, the last question's right here. Zid says, "How do you find yourself? Do you find yourself still using your Steam Deck, and for what games mainly?" I do actually. I do still use it. I was playing Metal Gear Solid 5 the other day, Sean, because I had beat it on Steam. Because you were talking about it, I was like,
yep.
It really is dry for Sean if he went back and he's playing Metal Gear Solid 5 right now. But
I still can't figure out why I didn't like it back in the day.
It's good.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a great game.
I'm in the Africa section.
Okay.
I just did, but it's weird because I must have played it a good bit because I remember most of the stuff. Now that I'm playing through it again, I remember doing most of these missions.
I only played through it once. I wanted to play through it again, but I fired up the Steam Deck and I checked my time played is like 57 hours or something. So it's a longer game. I think the game's like 40 something hours if you just go through it casually.
Well, I keep dicking around with all the side quests and stuff. I just free roam. I'm like, I need all these bases. All these bases belong to me.
It's a good game, but that's what I was actually playing the other day on the Steam Deck, and you know what? Runs great. Runs really well. Got 60 frames, I believe, out of it. No problem.
How's the core efficiency, though?
Core efficient. Thank you. I was curious about Spider-Man. People were saying it played pretty well. So I don't know. I might look at that. I think out of Spider-Man or God of War on the Steam Deck, I'd be maybe more curious to see God of War just because that feels like a real graphical showcase for it. But handheld Spider-Man is very intriguing. Let's go to... We can talk about the THQ showcase. Did anyone get a chance to watch this?
I watched the highlights of it. Two games stuck out to me.
New Alone in the Dark.
Yep, that's game one.
I saw that and I was like, this is really cool. I'm sure a lot of people online will be like, awesome. What's Alone in the Dark? This is a... I mean, it is a bit... I don't remember it was on like the... Gosh, the PS1. I remember it on PC, but it was also on the PS1. If I'm not mistaken.
It was originally a PC game, kind of a precursor to Resident Evil as far as survival horror stuff goes. They did it on. There was a PlayStation 1 game. I remember playing that. It was a 2-disc game. It wasn't too bad. They actually ported the game over to the Game Boy Color, and it's one of the most technically impressive Game Boy Color games by far. Like, it's insane what they fucking... Dude, look up that game sometime. It's absolutely mind-melting what they did with that on the Game Boy Color. Yet Nintendo still says the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color were the same system. Clearly, they weren't with that game. But yeah, then they did the reboot that came out on the PS3, Xbox 360, and the Wii, and didn't do all that great. It had a lot of core problems, but I think it'll be fun. They're going back to a more Lovecraft style with it, so kind of like the Beneath the Sinking City sort of theme to it. But I think it looks good. I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
Okay. Well, it said it's a reimagining, and they even showed off some pretty good looking screenshots of it. I do like how we're getting more and more like horror games and stuff now. It feels like it's kind of being re-energized, I guess, now for that kind of genre.
I feel, well, yeah, because we got so many. It's such a short span between like the PS2 and then leading into the PS3 and the Xbox 360, it definitely got very oversaturated to the point of where it's like you couldn't tell one apart from the other.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm all for it. To see Alone in the Dark kind of get a bit of a rebirth, that'd be really cool. And then they were just going off on a lot of PC games. Tempest, there's like Tempest Rising real-time strategy game. You're right, Sean. Some of these trailers don't match up with the gameplay, like the Alien game that we had at that one show, and it was.
I love those.
Yeah. Space for Sale, which is like this little No Man's Sky looking thing. It could be kind of fun. Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed looks awesome. I like the remake that they did for the first one. I think people should check it out. It's still blast. Destroy All Humans 2 though. Gothic remake. Jagged Alliance 3.
Starring Jagged Edge. Meet me at the altar in your white dress. We ain't getting younger. We might as well do it.
Outcast 2 story and gameplay trailer. Knights of Honor 2. SpongeBob SquarePants. Jordan, the Cosmic Shake. How we feeling here? How we feeling with this one?
It's looking like a fun new SpongeBob game that they took a lot of the notes. This was the ultimate like end game for the SpongeBob franchise, was to get a proper remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom and then continue on games with that similar structure. And it looks like it's more it looks like it's more of that, a bunch of new features and gameplay mechanics, and I'm excited to see whatever this new SpongeBob game holds.
You're on that day one, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm curious to see your thoughts on that. I do like the visual style. It still kind of has that old school, like from like the PS2 GameCube era, but they've kind of tuned it up so it looks more modern now. I still like how they kind of kept that it's weird. It's like a 3D cartoony look. It's not like cell shade or anything. I don't know. It's still very strange and reminiscent of that time period. So I like it. I like how it looks. The Valiant got a gameplay for that, a strategy game. Way of the Hunter, and we had Recreation, which actually looked kind of interesting, right? Yeah. I saw that. I was like, there was a trailer that went up early. It's from, get this, the ex-developers of games like Burnout and Need for Speed coming together to make it.
Yeah, I think that game has some potential.
That is interesting.
Open world and stuff. Like
this massive, they said it's massive sandbox. You can kind of just build and create tracks and all of this. They had them like doing loops and all kinds of stuff. And you guys come together online and kind of build this stuff. It looked pretty cool, actually. I was a little surprised on that one.
They also teased the South Park.
I was trying to figure this one out because they closed it, and I don't really. That was a weird way to close it out. Like they had nothing for South Park this game.
Well, what is it?
That's the thing. It just basically was.
But wasn't Ubisoft South Park?
Yeah.
So did THQ just get the license or something, or how does that work? And how are Polygon and Kotaku going to review that game? That's my question.
Oh gosh. I'm curious. What if this is? There's a lot of possibilities here with the South Park game, like because obviously with Ubisoft they did like the RPG style, and I really liked those South Park games. I thought they were fun, they were unique, they were interesting. They had obviously the South Park comedy to it.
Come on, you got the ignoring the originals, the first person shooter.
That's what I was going to ask.
Chef's Love Shack.
But is this? Is this going to be a sequel to the first-person shooter where you have the pea snowballs?
I would love that.
I actually hope that's what they do here, because I feel like THQ is kind of smart right now in the sense that they're not investing in something that's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make. They are like, all right, let's get a lot of the smaller, what do they call them, AA titles together. Yeah, let's just release a whole bunch of games.
The middleware. Bring back the middleware.
Sure, we'll go with middleware. But just a lot of those titles, I don't mind that. I think there's a place for that in gaming right now, because
a lot of them are budget titles as well. They're not your full $60 and stuff like that. Like probably, I would imagine the Recreation game is probably going to be a full 60, and AEW is probably going to be a full 60.
We're going to talk about AEW in a second. Yeah.
I actually finally talk about it in my video tomorrow.
I
kind
of like what we're getting out of THQ right now. They still have a lot of games that are in development too. There's like 25 are still in development. and just about ready to show. So they're rolling right now. But I kind of like the position they're taking here. A bit different from like the big publishers who are like, we're going to release 1 or 2 games a year that are hundreds of millions of dollars, and then we'll have probably a live service game or something thrown in. So like they're doing SpongeBob to publishing AEW to doing Time Splitters to Dark Side. They're all over the place right now, and I like it. You don't know what's going to show up. Alone in the Dark remake. Who would have seen that coming? But we did have AEW, Sean, Fight Forever. What do we think?
Day one. Buying it on Switch?
I mean, I gotta buy it too. I have to get it on Switch and then probably. What are we getting on the Xbox? You think?
I'm getting it on Xbox. I'm getting Switch and Xbox. Switch for the video, Xbox for the enjoyment, just in case it's a debacle.
I need the redemption arc after paying for WWE 2K18.
You'll definitely get it.
I need the redemption.
If the game functions, you get it. If you can have more than a one-on-one match, you literally
2K18
have
technically
superseded.
worked, just not very well.
I don't think that worked. I don't think you can classify that as work. But no, I think it. I don't think you can expect some of the level of polish of WWE games. But I mean, there really hasn't been that, because I think the yearly cycle is very stupid for these games.
Yes,
and
I agree.
when they took a year off and they went back to the drawing board, they made a pretty decent product. It's
You didn't
still
buy
a
it,
little bit glitchy. I didn't buy it, no, but I watch enough videos.
I put 50 hours in the 2K22. What's
like
up?
it looks a lot better, but they've already announced, oh, we're doing WWE 2K23. It's like, Jesus Christ, did you not learn your lesson? Like,
They got to get away from the numbering. Just go back to doing things like WWE, like they did SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. They did obviously we have No Mercy from the 64. You get Here Comes the Pain. I like those titles. They're more creative and interesting, whereas it's like 2K22, 23, 24,
and there wasn't
25.
Even the story modes were light years better. Like they try to do the more realistic stories, and it's like, this is stupid. I don't. The one for WWE 2K20, it literally made me want to stick a fork in my eye.
That was pretty bad. I will say
metal
2K22 was better because they started you in like the performance center and you had to work your way up. So they had you training with like Bulldog and Shawn Michaels and stuff, and eventually you can work your way onto SmackDown.
Wait, British Bulldog?
I think he was.
He's definitely been dead for like 15 years.
No, not him. I feel like he was.
Wise from your grave. We need you to.
I need to see who's in the performance. It was Shawn Michaels and the other guy who's usually in there. Oh, what's his name? He was part of DX.
Albert. Oh, Road Dogg.
Thank you.
Who's now unemployed.
There you go. Hey, 2K23 coming up. They'll update that roster next year.
But no, I think the AEW game, it looks like they went the more simplistic route, the more SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth, the more No Mercy route. The mini games, whatever. I mean, maybe that's just for more mass appeal or something like that. Take it or leave it. I don't care. I will try them once and then move on without my day. But like, it seems like it has a lot of game modes. It seems like, you know, we got no unsanctioned matches. You have exploding barbed wire matches. They showed some of the weapons, like a trash can, a fire extinguisher. They showed some of the characters, such as Abaddon, who that's the first we've seen of her. I'm at the point now where, okay, I'm sold. Give me the roster. Give me the control scheme, how it's going to control, because I don't think it's going to be nearly as complex as some of the WWE games, but I don't want it to be too simplistic. I don't want it to be
like, you thinking No Mercy? Because it's the people who did No Mercy.
Well, yeah, the producer of the game is the producer of No Mercy. So if it's literally No Mercy-esque, I'll say,
okay with that.
Perfect. Because even if you think about it, and I say all this in my video tomorrow, I've already filmed it, so make sure you watch it tomorrow. Damn it. No Mercy at its core had a very simplistic control scheme.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, you tap a button or you hold a button. Like, you could pick up and play that
grapple
game.
Where it's like,
yeah, you do the weak grapple or you do the grapple, and then it's like it's very easy. I've heard good things about Rumbleverse. I need to check it out, but
I have not. Go on.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited for it, and honestly, I'm not going to be surprised if that game comes out this year, because beyond
AEW is supposed to come out this year. They said 2022.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things are supposed to come out this year, Jonathan. But no, beyond just that trailer, AEW has been hyping it up on TV, like available on all consoles, coming soon. So fucking give it to me, man. I am so ready for that. I'm so ready. I'm so ready for, not to say that there haven't been enjoyable wrestling games. There's been smaller enjoyable wrestling games. Retromania I had fun with. Action Arcade Wrestling I had fun with. Wrestling Empire I had fun with. But I want a proper wrestling game to go alongside of those. And I'm so ready for one to be a proper wrestling game.
Hey, man, if they can make it work on the Switch and they're the only, like, full wrestling game there, like, I think that's big for them. So I'm hoping it turns out to be good, because I need WWE to get slapped around a bit on their video game front.
I mean, and once again, kids, competition is good. We want this game to be good. We want this game to be successful, because then WWE would have to step up their game.
Drop the 2K naming.
Plus, you have Sting. So, like, by default, I think the game is already better than 2K22.
I just like that they went
Sting.
with their own. They could have just done AEW 2K22 or 3. They could do that. I like that they came up with a name for it. Fight for it. Like, that's good. That's a good idea.
And I don't expect there's that. I think this game will come out this year, and you're not going to hear shit for a year, or for probably 2 years. They'll probably just add stuff into the game, and you probably won't hear a damn thing about a new game for like 2 years. And that's what I want, because that honestly shows a bit more confidence in your product. You're like, yo, this is a game like No Mercy, where fucking 30 years later or 20 years later, you're still playing it. You still want to play it. You still think about it. It still plays great. It's still fun, because we didn't overcomplicate it. So
sure. We go over to some of the super chats here. Hey, it's good showing from THQ. I'd say that, like I said, some of the games that weren't necessarily what I was looking for, but like AEW was cool to see there, and Alone in the Dark and all of this. So apparently AEW will be playable at Gamescom along with 2 or 3 other of these games. So
really,
yep, I'm sure we'll see footage for some of them in a week and a half.
I wonder what build that's gonna be, because if they're hyping it up for a game to come out this year, that could be a pretty complete build, and maybe we'll learn about the roster and the controls. Oh, now I'm excited for Gamescom. I didn't give a shit about it beforehand.
There you go. Let me go over to the super chats here. Trevor says, I love my wife. And then, have you heard about Graggle Simpson? He's real. Apparently that's a whole Simpsons thing that I'm not aware of.
Graggle Simpson.
But I looked it up. It's a character from, I think it was modded from an old Simpsons game. And apparently I guess it'll find its way into an episode or something.
Is this?
Yeah, you do some research on that, Sean. Hellman says, Evan's not here, and it definitely shows. We did that. This is from HB saying, all of the fire slander is giving me a big headache. Let's use our noggins and move ahead. This has been weighing on my mind for quite some time.
What
says,
were we slandering? What were we slandering?
I don't know. It says fire.
Why is Graggle Simpson naked?
Tijo says, just joined as a member. How do I get to the Discord? It sounds like an Evan question. We'll get back to you, Tijo. We'll get you in there. That way you can drop a question for our Discord Q&A. Rascal says, if you're not playing Cult of the Lamb, you're missing out. Well worth the price tag. I keep hearing about that. Sounds like an interesting concept. I might check it out.
Number one game on the eShop just kind of exploded to the top today.
Apparently it's like this Animal Crossing arcade-esque game. I don't know. I have to say,
a rogue-like action-adventure game developed by the indie developer Massive Monster.
Yeah, apparently you run a cult and you recruit people to it and everything. It's like cute creatures, like an Animal Crossing kind of thing.
I wish it was like a real cult with like real people. Like, think of how cool that would be.
I think it's better here because it's
people.
But it makes sense. I think it's more interesting here because it's the art style and it's this contrasting thing with these cute little characters, but they're joining a cult. Like that's
no, fuck that.
I want
fruit punch and black Nikes. If you know, you know.
Is it an M-rated? I think it's an M-rated game too. I have to double check. Jacob says, sup guys, would Sean watch The Boys if I promised to donate $50 in one of his streams once he given a chance? I want to hear you all talk about it. He said he would.
Sure would.
Riku says, hey, you know what? The after show coming up. There you go. Sean will be there.
I will.
Riku says, have been watching the Spawncast VODs. Today is one of the rare times I can make it live. Love the show. Tijo says, I know what Matsuda said on Twitter, but why can't Xenoblade Chronicles 3 soundtrack just be out already? I want to listen to it in high quality without YouTube. The soundtrack with the collector's edition?
No, the collector's edition doesn't come with the soundtrack. He just wants the soundtrack. He just wants it out right now.
Christian says, been watching the Spawncast for a little over a year now. Thank you all for the great content. Has kept me entertained while I mow for many hours. Sly says, RGT's right. Competition promotes innovation. Alpha says,
no, it doesn't.
Who else feels like Ubisoft to just squander potential? Looking at IPR, Mario Rabbids and Rayman Legends compared to everything else they make, like Watch Dogs. I think Ubisoft's just in a weird place right now. Oh my gosh.
I don't think they have a real direction.
Dude, Skull and Bones? We were just talking about God of War and how, like, game companies are trying to position themselves around it. Skull and Bones, I think, comes out a day before God of War Ragnarok. Like, who's gonna play that?
Me?
Is it a free-to-play game?
No.
Oh my god. It's Assassin's Creed 4 without the on-land stuff.
Oh, you know what? You want a good game like that? I fired it up the other day. Still really good. Assassin's Creed Rogue. Just saying. You take over a ship
Rogue's
in the
not
first
bad.
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
Rogue's
that
a little
game,
underrated.
that game is going to flop so bad.
Which game?
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones.
Nah, God of War should be scared.
Prepare for this, Sean. Skull and Bones is, if I'm not mistaken, $70. Let me double check. I'm looking at the limited edition one on Best Buy. It's $70. Unless
you guys are underrating how good Ubisoft games are, especially like when they do like the open world stuff. Like, come on now.
You're on a boat. You cannot leave the boat ever.
I know you don't think I was
put on land.
I know you don't think I was being serious.
It's
I can't wait for the part in the game where I sail my boat to a certain part of the sea just so I can see the rest of the map, and then go to another part of the sea to open up the rest of the map, and then keep doing that at different points in the game.
I double checked on Best Buy again. It's $70 on the Xbox and the PS5.
And it comes out
absolutely insane.
The day before God of War.
All right, well, that's a good plan.
Oh my god! Thankfully, Ubisoft has Mario and Rabbids to counteract it, because one game's gonna make them some money and one game is not.
Oof, man.
I don't see how they're making any money on Skull and Bones. They've spent too much on redoing that game like twice.
When does Rabbids 2 come out?
October, right? 20th?
22nd? It comes out October.
It's like that
Late
third week.
October.
I'm looking.
Yeah, late October.
Crusher says, when I was a kid, one of my neighbors had a 3DO. It's a very rare thing.
He must
to
have been
happen.
rich.
Oh yeah, that was expensive back then.
The 3DO was stupid expensive. Cool. It was a neat. I say it was a neat console, but that's the only console that I've ever owned and didn't have to sell for money. I just sold it because I didn't want it. The only game that I was interested in was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo on it, because at that time it had never been re-released, and now it's been re-released so much. It's like, well, I don't need this system. Like PO'd was kind of cool on it, and there were so many half-ass first-person shooters. It's actually a very fun story if you have time. Look up Doom for 3DO and the story behind that. Absolutely bizarre story how that came to be.
Geeky Gaming Family says, OJ, my son who is 12, goes out in the neighborhood for 2 hours a weekday and asks people if he can do work for them. He usually makes $250 a week doing random work like mowing, raking, or power washing.
It's a good dad. Teaching your kid. We need more people out there, because a lot of people be coming here and they don't have that hard work. They just think that you just owed everything. I just want. You got to teach your kids how to go out there and work for it. So good job, dude.
Georgie says, bring up the lack of classic games on PlayStation Plus Premium. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's going on over there with Sony, because that's, to me, was the big thing that was separating that from like extra. And it's very difficult to recommend anyone to sign up for premium over extra.
Hey, they got Toy Story 2.
Dude, they're like, they can't even drop Legend of Dragoon in there. It's time. It's time. I don't know. Make some deals. Make some moves. I thought we were going to see PS1 games, a PS2 game drop in there, maybe a PSP game.
It started out solid, and now they're kind of like, they're like the fucking Switch Online, but you have a roadmap. It's like, oh, it's going to happen in the middle of the month. Oh, what's coming? Oh, you'll see. It's like obscure indie. Remember the Indies series on PSP, where it was just like small digital indie games? Like, yeah, we'll give you one of these. And like, people like got hyped. I remember
this week, right?
Max got hyped about some shit, and I was watching this video. I'm like, dude, there's no fucking way you're excited about it. Like, everyone has their own thing, but fuck, man,
this week should be midway through. I mean, maybe we'll see a PS1 game or something get dropped in this week.
Yeah, I hope they stealth drop something because yeah, kind of lacking a little bit. That was supposed to be that's one of the strongest things they have as an advantage over Game Pass, and it definitely hasn't been
Drop Legend of
hasn't been
Dragoon or
used.
Metal Gear Solid. Let's get it done. T-Joe says, anyone else think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has bad audio mixing even with headphones at max volume and voices maxed out in game? It still sounds quiet. Music overpowers. Does it?
I'm playing it.
I don't think I've noticed. I have the sound bar over there that I'm playing right over here usually. I haven't noticed anything like that necessarily.
I haven't noticed it really. It might. I'm not gonna sit there and say it might be your setup, but it might be your setup.
Could be your ears.
I don't know.
Yeah, get the wax out of your ears.
I'm not sure.
I don't. I mean, I don't know. I have an Elevate soundbar that I use for it. So
people are saying that Dino Crisis is already leaked for PlayStation Classic.
That was a little while ago though, wasn't that? Was like last month.
Okay, well, if Dino Crisis comes out this week, all right, you made me happy
good?
for a little while.
We're good.
Yeah.
All right, cool, good to go. Lucius says a $250 Xbox Series S with Call of Duty on the box and 3 months of Game Pass during Black Friday is what Sony is afraid of, as they should be. I will admit that would be kind of devastating. that would hurt.
But is the child that you're buying that system for going to say, "Mommy, I want an Xbox," or "Mommy, I want a PlayStation"?
Well, to be honest, there might be people who aren't even child. It might be like, oh, my spouse wants Call of Duty. It's for this Xbox, and I just buy this, and my shopping's done.
Yeah, if my spouse bought me an Xbox Series X, she'd be my ex-spouse. I don't.
No, Series S. Series S.
That's what. Oh, that's what I said. Series S.
Oh, I think it's X. It's Series
you
S.
said
Really?
X.
The
You said
S?
X.
Hold on, they would buy you a Series S straight up. You wouldn't have to pay for it or anything. Like they bought it for you. You that'd be it.
Why didn't you buy me the X? Was the X not available?
Man.
If that's the case, get me a gift card, and then at the appropriate time, I will purchase my Xbox Series X.
Oh wow. Teacher says, would non-COD and Blizzard titles Crash, Spyro, or Tony Hawk instead remain on PlayStation after the merger? I have a PS5, no Xbox, so it would suck if it doesn't. I don't think they're pulling anything off of systems, but if there's a new Crash game 5 years from now, it's probably not going to PlayStation. So I think whatever's there right now is safe, but who knows for the future? All they've commented on is Call of Duty.
I made Jordan leave. He didn't like that question.
I'm out.
Interesting enough, though, Microsoft said they would put Call of Duty on Switch. So I'm curious if they live up to that. I want to see that happen. I want to see them take a shot at it. Just to see. Although if they started they might just move Call of Duty Mobile over. That might be the one they find.
That'd be fine.
They might move
Think
Call of Duty Mobile.
how many little kids will be on there and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yo, didn't Phil Spencer say they'd have first party games too? It says a lot of things.
Okay, if the deal closes this year, so it closes beginning of October, we'll say, technically, they're releasing a first-party game with Call of Duty at the end of October.
Overwatch is releasing this year, so I guess that's a first party too, right?
They're loading up on first parties all of a sudden.
So many first party games just happen to be on everything too.
That would be funny because they'd come out and they'd start advertising. That'd be, oh man. Sly says, does Steam Deck put the PC into the console wars? I'm going to say no because we've had portable PCs forever now. So, we've had handheld PCs for years, actually. I remember the GPD win feels like forever ago.
It's still hard to get a Steam Deck. Like it's not easy.
You got to be able to walk into a Best Buy and just take it off the shelf and buy it.
And that's when I'll buy it.
Alvin says, Microsoft did say in their January statement that they plan on bringing COD to Switch. Also, you think that it's just Warzone? What do y'all think? I think it's Call of Duty Mobile, if anything, just to make it easy for them. Because it's already
Call
on
of Duty.
phones.
Hold up. Call of Duty Cat. I'm pretty sure that's the version that they're bringing. Call of Duty Cat.
I would love to see
version.
them take a real shot at it, but I kind of think in their mind it's like, well, we either need Warzone or mobile, and
they're just saying stuff just to say it, guys. Like they ain't being serious.
I mean, the work they did for Minecraft on this, they did some pretty significant work for Minecraft on the Switch.
because
So
because they know that will make them money.
I kind of think Call of Duty on the Switch would make them money too, though. Like,
would it?
I kind of think it would. I mean, Fortnite makes money on the Switch. Makes a lot of money.
Because Fortnite's Fortnite. That's different. That's the vibes that Fortnite and Minecraft give seem more like that's something that work. Like Call of Duty's been on Nintendo platforms before, and it's had some success. I just I think that the experience of Call of Duty is Xbox and PlayStation. So I think a lot of Nintendo fans that do have, maybe they'll opt. Maybe Switch might be different. I just don't think that Switch is
But
going to
think
be
of the
anything
children
big.
that will be playing on the Nintendo
I mean,
Switch.
my thing is though, I wouldn't even think of Call of Duty, like the full Call of Duty, as a mobile game. But dude, Call of Duty Mobile is incredibly popular. There's 100 million downloads on that thing.
It is incredibly popular, and they make a lot of money on there, and that's why I think that they don't care. Because like, what's the point of making the Switch version for what? You're okay. Maybe you sell 2 million, a million. Okay, great. You got to maintain that. You got to keep the servers or whatever they're running on there.
It's free.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's the point when you have Call of Duty Mobile? Yes, they can probably make a lot of money on there. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that they will, because look how long it's been. Switch has been selling like crazy for how long? It's been
I
doing
just think
good for how long?
Activision's just like.
And Activision's like, we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But
So
you're getting the brand out there though. And yeah, like Apex is on Switch.
Switch has been here 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, now 2022. There's been nothing. What's taking them so long? All these other franchises that has came over.
Well, that was Activision. Now that Activision is a part of Microsoft, Phil's essentially running the show with that. So it would be more so like, and it seems like Microsoft wants to do a lot of stuff with Nintendo anyways. It's just Nintendo.
I hope I'm wrong. We'll see.
Tijo says in Japan it's Xenoblade Cross.
Japan is just called Xenoblade. They just call it Xenoblade 3.
For Xenoblade X, like the Xenoblade Cross in Japan. For like the PlayStation X and Cross discussion.
Oh, okay, that's what he's saying.
I wasn't aware of that. I look at Xenoblade, I say X. I don't know. Maybe just Cross. I'm not sure. Adventures says, who is the best Smash player in the Spawncast, and will we ever get a tournament? No, because OJ would win. So we already all know this. OJ would just win the tournament.
I'm about average in Smash. I can play against pro players. I can't beat them, but I can play against them and like not get destroyed like 100%.
There you go.
Where is Jordan? I need to pee.
OJ would win Smash. Yes. Flash says, "Cope. See, the Xbox is better." Thank you, Flash.
All right, I gotta pee. I'm out.
Riku says, complete games are a myth. All games have content cut in development. It's more about, is it satisfying on release? In my opinion, that's subjective. Tijo says, anyone remember how Street Fighter V and Battlefront 2015 launched? Both of them also launched with nothing and almost no offline. Yeah, they kind of did. I meant by they launched unfinished. Yeah, those got destroyed as well online.
Every game's gonna get destroyed from here on out. There's not a single. I'm telling you, there ain't a single one that launches with everything that people want in terms of big games. Not a single game, unless it's like free to play, like a Fortnite thing. It's like, okay, well, Fortnite, but
they
like in
get
terms
to that
of
point where they're like, we just got to launch this thing, and it's like I don't know if that's enough. We'll add it later. It's cool.
I remember when like Overwatch first came out. I was like, is there a single player? I should have done more research. I was being dumb as hell. I was working a day job and I was doing and I didn't check because I wasn't really doing. I just didn't check. And I thought Overwatch had a single player because like of what they showed, all the cinematics, all these cool characters. I was like, oh, it has to have a single player, right? I pick up the game. I'm just doing 2 modes over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Like just those 2 modes. That's it. And I'm like, there's no single player at all in the game. And I was like, wow, I was shocked. But that's my fault for not paying attention to the marketing or to the press release or whatever the hell else.
August says Forza Horizon 5 had a 92 on Metacritic and over 10 million players after a couple weeks and wasn't even a nomination. Metacritic is someone's opinion, just like Game of the Year, just have fun. Well, we're gonna get to the end of the year, and there'll be a lot of discussion around Game of the Year. But I mean, let's face it, we all go to Metacritic, we hit the button for give me the best rated games of the year, and we kind of discuss through those, and then maybe pick like a wild card out of like the low 80s or something for the most part. But Forza Horizon 5 missed it because it's a racing game. I mean, that's the best description I give. It's a racing game. It still won awards, though. It's just Game of the Year. Like, you never see the Call of Duties in there, even though you could probably make a case for the occasional Call of Duty that's, like, really high quality. Like, I would have been okay if Modern Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? You remember the big level people talked about where you go into the house?
Yeah.
Dude, that was, like, next level stuff. That actually has stuck with me since then. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited for Modern Warfare 2. I would have had no problem if that ended up in a Game of the Year discussion at some point, that game.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
But it's Call of Duty, so it doesn't necessarily end up there, and that's just the way it is. So I assume Forza Horizon 5 fell to that, and I think this year's Call of Duty will have the same thing happen. So, but yeah, it's just it comes down to nominations, opinions, all of that at the end of the. I mean, Newsweek's gonna nominate some stuff, so who knows?
Wow, that chip was so close to the mic.
It's not a chip; it's a celery.
Oh,
stick.
celery. Well, it had the crunch of a chip. So that's a good,
out of
good
everything you could have come back with, a stalk of celery is not anywhere near the top of my list.
Well, I have the dip. I like celery. And
even with the dip, that is a massive like twist right there.
I like celery. Celery and little baby carrots. Those are good too. I have a bunch
Wow.
of baby carrots.
PTP says Microsoft should buy every third-party company in existence, but let the game stay on Nintendo, but not Sony, just to be petty like Sony. Wow. Lewis says, super interested in MW2, considering this will be the only Call of Duty for what I'm assuming is the next 2 years. What will be the big FPS next fall? That's a good question because, yeah, they're going to do some other paid thing next year. It might just be expansion for it. I don't know. Big FPS next year? Maybe it's new Titanfall. That'd be cool. Oh, maybe it's Metroid Prime 4. Full online multiplayer, the whole deal. There we go. Matthew says Metroid Fusion or Zero Mission. I'm a Fusion guy.
Same.
Fusion's awesome.
The Axiom says, okay, how much money Nintendo is saving being able to focus on one system. They don't need to keep up with handheld and home consoles anymore at the same time. All right, let's go into the best, because this is something that Sean told me. Let's go into the best Nintendo system ever. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we may be in the era of the Switch, which may be, right now, as we're living through it, the best console, handheld, the best system Nintendo's ever released. I put up a poll on Twitter, and it appears, anyway, right now, Twitter believes, yes, it is the best system Nintendo's ever released, with 64.5% coming in with a resounding yes. That's on almost 25,000 votes.
Twitter believes a lot of stuff, though.
That's true. I can ask that. We can ask the chat right now. How about that? Okay. Is the Switch the best system Nintendo has ever released?
I would say
yes or no.
Me personally, it's released the games that I've liked the most. Because like you have all the Persona games coming. You have like Nier. You have all the Bayonetta games. You have probably the best version of Super Smash Brothers, or one of the best versions of Super Smash with all the characters. You know, you have pretty much all the Xenoblade games. You're only missing one. You're missing Xenoblade X.
Yep.
The best one.
And then on top of that, you get new stuff like Mario plus Rabbids. That's really interesting. You know, you've got more fighting games this time around. Like we've got Blaze Blue. We don't got all the newest ones like Tekken and stuff, but we've got more fighting games. Blaze Blue's on there. Melty's on there. You know, you got stuff like Pokken. You've got obviously Legend of Zelda is on there. Super Mario Odyssey's on there. Mario Maker's on there. It's just missing some of the legacy stuff. It's like missing, you know, like Star Fox and F-Zero. It's missing some of that.
We have to dig pretty far into Nintendo's history for IPs to find stuff. Like people are asking for a new Eternal Darkness because we have like so many of Nintendo's IPs already on there, like represented.
Yeah. You know, and you got stuff like Astral Chain, Jordan's favorite, you know. You know, so you've got just a lot of stuff. I mean, you have like Bravely Default. You have stuff that came up from the 3DS, you know, past Nintendo systems, there might be like no Fire Emblem, you know, or, you know, no Bravely Default or no stuff like that. Whereas you get those type of 3DS franchises or games that were on there on the home console now. And so I think that's the reason why a lot of people say that. You know, for me, Xenoblade 3 has been like one of the biggest things that's pushed it over. But even on top of that, like Persona, like that's like we get Persona 5, Persona 4, and Persona 3 all coming to the system. I mean, that's no other Nintendo system is even like the closest thing that we've gotten to that is like is the 3DS with Persona Q, you know. So now you have Personas, you have Nier, you have just so much stuff on the system. So I think and you got like Final Fantasies too. You got 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 2, and 12 all in the system, plus all this like a lot of the spin-off stuff as well. So no other Nintendo system. I mean, maybe like the original Super Nintendo, they have a few Final Fantasies.
I think Sean has the correct contender in mind for this because it's the one I would have gone with if I had to pick a Nintendo system that would go head-to-head with the Switch. Go ahead, Sean.
Nintendo DS.
It is the DS. I think that's the one that would go head-to-head with the Switch because that was a ridiculous library, and obviously it sold a ton of systems. Go on, Sean.
I mean, Nintendo DS had so many. It was peak Nintendo innovation, I feel, because they were just trying different things. They were doing different things. You had the touch screen. You had great third-party support. You're a Call of Duty kid? Well, there's several on the Nintendo DS, my friend, with online play.
Gosh.
The online, for what it was very good with games that utilize the online stuff. There was a lot of ports of older titles. You had Chrono Trigger on there. You had the remakes of Final Fantasy 3 on there. Dragon Quest was heavily represented on there. So if you're looking for the RPGs, one of my favorite versions of the original Resident Evil, I like the little touch screen swiping mini games, and I liked the added in multiplayer. Me and my buddy used to play that all the time. A really good system. Like, you had great Mario. I would say one of the drawbacks would be the Zelda games. There's not many fans of Spirit Tracks.
Jordan, you hear this? You hear this, Jordan?
Oh, I'm
Fan
here.
of Hourglass, but I really,
I'm here.
I think they were okay. They weren't the best thing in the world, but I thought they were okay. But just overall, I mean, so much variety of stuff, so many just like
Shovelware.
weird.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, even some of like the weird stuff, like Touch the Dead. Touch the Dead was so much fun. You had Point Blank on there, of all things. Like,
Oh yeah.
it was such a unique system, and it really helped revitalize, I think, creativity in the landscape.
Okay. I saw some people bring up the Wii. The Wii. I don't know. The Wii is like, I don't really look at that as. I mean, that obviously caught like lightning in a bottle because of the mainstream, but I don't know. Do I look back on the Wii and go like, look at this? Look at Wii Fit.
At this. Okay, wait. I'll make a case for the Wii too.
Okay.
Best version of Resident Evil 4 before the HD version.
Okay. Yeah.
By
Absolutely.
far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Easily, yeah.
Manhunt 2, Scarface, Mario Odyssey 2,
Mario Odyssey 2
Zelda
is
are on there.
good. Yeah.
And that's how you know the Switch is better, because he said Mario Odyssey. No, I'm
Galaxy.
joking.
Galaxy. Innovative games like The Conduit, House of the Dead games are on there. Light Gun games is fantastic for light gun games. There was Call of Duties on it. There was Kirby's Epic Yarn. Knights. You had Knights. Brand new Knights game on the system. Come on.
I will say
Ouch.
Call of Duty on the Wii was actually better than people give it credit for. Like, I think it was
It's-
it Black Ops?
Solid, but Nintendo in that era, I'll say Nintendo in that era was annoying. If Nintendo wasn't so fudging annoying in that era, I might, but it was like, okay, you have to play motion controls a lot of the games.
That's true.
Like, you can't play, they have a classic controller, you can't use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't use it. DS era, once again, they were somewhat annoying in that era. Like, forcing you to play. My hands are too big. I can't play the DS screen with my hands in the middle of me. My hands are too big. So it's like they did some great things. I agree with you. The DS, it's high up on my list as well. But I think that the problem was that they were just a little bit too gimmicky in those areas, and like they just didn't give you an option. I think that's part of the gameplay experience, is having an option to let you play normal. Like, that's part of the reason why it's like Wii. Okay, Skyward Sword, that's great. There was no option for button controls. Skyward Sword on the Switch, you can play both ways. Maybe it's not as good, but with the motion, maybe that's not quite as good. But at least you can play with motion, or you can play with button controls. Nintendo actually gives you options in today's day than compared to back then, where there's just like weird gimmicks with Phantom Hour. I would love Phantom Hourglass if my hand wasn't in the way half the time because of touching the
That would
screen,
make the
touching
turn, though,
screens
Sean.
over and over.
If you think about it, for the Wii, you didn't even play the big 3D Zelda game that was there until recently on the Switch.
Yeah.
Skyward
Well,
Sword,
I mean, I
like,
did play it. I just didn't like it.
you didn't
But
like it. Yeah.
another point for the Wii is backwards compatibility with the game.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Insane virtual console.
That
Games that had
there's a lot
native
of
voice
options.
chat built in them.
I mean, the Switch has them too.
With Wii
It's just
Speak.
not from
I just bit all over the
Nintendo.
place.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know. I mean, these cases aren't great though. I mean, are we really in the greatest system from Nintendo ever? We're in its life right now. Like we're currently witnessing it.
I mean, you can make a case for it for sure, but I think I have a pack of gushers here. Awesome. I think you could definitely make a case. You could even make a case for the NES, even though that was Nintendo being Sony with their cannibalization of the video game market.
Most people will give it to Nintendo for the NES. Even honorable mention because it basically saved the gaming industry at the time. But like, I would love to do like, the GameCube or the 64 or like. I mean, it's just, while I like the games there, you're not going to stand up to what the Switch is doing right now. It's
GameCube's high on my list. I think there's a little bit of a case for GameCube, just because Nintendo put out a lot of great titles in the GameCube era. So
Yeah.
there's
But
definitely a case.
A lot of great N64 titles. Yeah.
You can count them
There
all in
are?
one hand. You hold them all just like this.
There's a lot of great N64 titles. How many games total are on the N64?
It doesn't matter about quantity; it's about quality.
Oh no, quantity definitely matters when it comes to best of all time. Like, imagine if Michael Jordan didn't score all the quantity of points that he scored, or he didn't have all the quantity of championships that he has.
That's completely different because his sport was reliant on that sort of thing, whereas games are not.
Imagine if Jordan only had a quantity of 2 titles
Top
and
20
2 finals MVPs.
20
He
on
wouldn't be
N64.
considered the greatest.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
about
have
to,
He would
any
be considered
titles.
just good.
Sean, you're about to round out the top 20 N64 list with Quarterback Club 99.
No, there's plenty of stuff you can put on there.
The N64 is Hakeem Olajuwon. He's pretty good. 2 titles, pretty good, but not enough.
He
Not
didn't
the
win
GOAT.
2. He only won 1, didn't he?
Hakeem won 2 back to back in the 90s.
94, 95, yeah. Okay.
When Jordan was gone.
Yeah.
I want to put that out there. When Jordan was gone.
Hey, you know what? I think the Switch is doing. It's definitely going to pass the 1 billion in software that's never been done by Nintendo before. I don't know. Depending on how Nintendo treats the rest of the Switch's life, it might end up being the best selling. If it ends up being the best selling system of all time, crosses 1 billion sold, has another game or two that are like way up there in the review score. Like, let's say Breath of the Wild 2 comes out 97, 98 on Metacritic, something crazy. I mean, do we get into the best system of all time discussion?
PS2.
If it passes the
For me?
PS2 in sales,
PS2 is up there. Like my PS2, Super Nintendo, those are also like up there, and like Switch, those are like my 3 right now.
yeah. I mean, PS2, most people look at that and go, yeah, there's a whole bunch of games on there I absolutely
Yeah.
loved. And most of us look back on that and be like, yeah, that was just like this incredible system at the time for, when it showed up.
I don't think you could beat the PS2.
Too much
In
variety.
sales or
too much
just-
variety.
No, in
Just-
terms of the best system ever.
Best
In
system.
sales, I think you can.
Okay.
In terms of the best system, that's damn near impossible.
Yeah. Too much variety there for the
Yeah.
games. Yeah. Okay. I mean, we still have, we're halfway through the Switch's life. We'll see what happens in 5 years. The guy Furukawa, keep holding it up. We'll still say, it's still an interesting thing to consider that we could actually be in like the generation that's ongoing that could be up there with like the PS2 and the DS when it's all said and
I was
done.
there for that I was there for all those generations.
But like now where you're buying the games as they're coming out, you're talking about them in the public setting on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like you're actually doing, back then on the PS2, I don't know, how old were you with the PS2?
I remember the first time I played Grand Theft Auto 3, I was 15 in Georgia, stoned out of my mind.
Oh, wow. Okay. That went in a different direction. That was GTA 3 was like the first PS2 game I saw at a friend's house. And they're like, this is incredible. What is this? And then they were like, you like that? You got to check out this Orphan game too. So it was, it was a good time. You didn't play Orphan?
No.
What? You didn't play that? I think that was a launch game for the PS2. It was terrible.
Isn't that the David Bowie? Oh no. What's
You
the
didn't play
David
Orphan?
Bowie game?
Oh, you never played, dude. You should go check that out.
Dreamcast.
You should do a review on your channel on Orphan. Some
know
people in
the
the chat
movie.
some people in the chat got that joke because Orphan is pretty bad. It was
Oh,
there.
I remember seeing
Yes.
the box art.
Yes,
of this,
it was
yeah.
there as a launch title, and that's the only, or an early title. That's the only reason people bought it, because it was there. And it's like, hey, I got this cool PS2. What's there to play? And they're like, Orphan. It was really bad. Let's take a
Game
look.
Pro gave it an 8 out of 10.
Well, hey, they got to live with that. Let me go through some of these super chats to finish up. There is an after show, Sean, right?
Yeah, we'll do an after show for a little bit. I got kind of an early morning, but we'll run it for a little bit.
Ben says THQ needs to buy the rights and remake Simpsons Hit and Run. I agree with that. That would be awesome.
God almighty.
Joseph says, wish they bring Afro Samurai to modern platforms. I remember that game on the 360. I thought it was actually pretty fun. Neon says, I finally caught you guys live, so I can finally ask, have any of you heard about Death Road to Canada? It's like the Oregon Trail, but with zombies. I'm not.
I've heard of that game, yeah.
Okay.
Because it had Canada in it, so I had to talk about it with Jason.
Lord
He's
says,
Canadian.
Lord says, OJ, play Halo Reach campaign or Halo 2.
I've played both of those campaigns. I've played and beat pretty much every Halo game, but it's all good.
Tay says everything Ubisoft releases is usually $20 by Black Friday. Skull and Bones will be full price for 17 days. Oh man,
Nice.
Whew.
That shouldn't be full priced ever.
I'm a little surprised we looked that up and it was $70. That kind of caught me off guard. Brian says, hey, Spawnwave, do you plan to do content on the Blue Retro projects for using modern wireless controllers on retro systems? I'd love to see a walkthrough of an internal install on a GameCube. I will look into that. I may have something interesting for the GameCube coming up soon. Some new hardware for the system. So,
Was it Dolphin? Just play Dolphin, nerd.
No. It's upgrade for the GameCube. It'd be really cool.
It's called
GameCube
Dolphin.
2, GameCube 3,
GameCube 2.
GameCube
Super-
Pro.
Super GameCube Pro.
Now I was trying to figure out a way to use like my PS5 or Switch Pro controller. On
Are you gonna say something like, "Give me 15 minutes to explain why the GameCube Pro is better than everything else"?
I was looking for a way to sync my PS5 controller, my Switch Pro controller to the GameCube. We'll see how that turns out. Gabe says, I think it would be cool if after Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, the next Zelda game has Black Link and Black Zelda. Since they are reincarnated in every game, there should be nothing stopping Nintendo. Yeah, I guess we'll see what's up after Breath of the Wild 2. Although when Breath of the Wild 2 is out, it might be a while before we see another big 3D Zelda game. So I feel like that is going to be an undertaking at this point. It went a bit longer than I thought it would to get that game out. Victor
Someone,
says,
I believe, made a video on that today.
Banana says Microsoft might make the jump to get COD on Switch to make Microsoft more popular in Japan, like with Minecraft. That is
good point.
That
Good
is
point.
they're only 1 million unit seller that Microsoft's like.
Why does
released.
But Microsoft does not care about Japan? I don't know why people think that they do, because Phil Spencer says, "Look, konnichiwa, we have some Persona games." Like that's okay.
He does put that front up sometimes. Like they really, I mean, if they really cared, I feel like they would.
If they really care, where's Lost Odyssey 2?
Yeah.
Where is Blue Dragon 2? If they cared, we'd see that. Not making freaking Sakaguchi make freaking what is he making? For arcade games? They do something on that front.
Steven
They don't
said,
care.
would GTA 5 Switch help Nintendo cross the 1 billion software sold mark? I think the GTA 5 release has kind of sailed at this point because GTA 6 already getting talked about. So I think we're on that track now. I think it's a little late for GTA 5 to show up on the Switch. Dwan Davis says, what's up, y'all? What's up, OJ? What's up, RGT85?
Yo.
I just want to say what's up to y'all. I'm staying in the hospital. Oh.
Shit. Hope you're good, dude.
Yeah. Hopefully you're good, Mr. Davis.
Oh yeah, I think he had surgery. I think I talked to him.
Yeah, he had
week,
surgery. He's recovering
Okay.
in the hospital. So
Okay. Well, hopefully you're getting better there. Laura says, pretty sure the Wii U was Nintendo's best. Why? 2 words, backwards compatibility. MVG would back me up. Well, now we're getting into like the soft modding scene. If that's the case, the PSP was the best from year 1. The Axiom says Dreamcast was better than GameCube. I don't know about that one. Joseph says, first is PS2, then Switch. The Switch got me back into gaming. So, yeah, that would do it if you go from like the PS2 to the Switch. Okay. Let me go around here. I also want to double check Streamlabs. RGT85. Where can everyone find you? Is it at RGT85?
You can find me at RGT85 most of the time. You can find me on RGT Live and Extras, which I will drop down in here. I don't know if anyone wants to hang out with me because, I mean, there's only been 4 of us tonight, but
I'll come
if
hang
they
out. I
decide
gotta edit a video anyway. So.
I gotta edit, but I'll hang out for a bit.
All right, cool. That's the channel there. Make sure you check it out there. We'll be live for a little bit. Just if you're expecting heavy video game talk, do not expect it. It's just a shit show to fuck around with.
Well, real quick, Sean, who is this person says ask RGT who Sebastian is.
Stop it.
Okay.
We're not talking about Sebastian.
Okay. OJ, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube. Got a pretty cool video that I'm dropping tomorrow talking about some stuff with Nintendo Switch. Been dropping a ton of Xenoblade discussion and news updates and stuff like with Xenoblade 3. Got some cool RPG.
Does OJ like Xenoblade? Is that the joke?
I think
I see a
that's
fan.
maybe just a little.
Just,
Maybe.
just a little bit. Yeah. So if you like Xenoblade 3, check out the channel.
Let me go over to Jordan here real quick because Jordan, a question. This is from Liam asking, do you think we will ever again have a national dex or at least compatibility with every Pokemon in a game since all their models have been updated now? And do you think Pokemon Home will stay open forever from system to system?
That's a lot of questions. That's a lot of
Do you think we'll
answers.
get national
I'm
dex?
not sure.
And do you think Pokemon Go will stay home open forever? Pokemon Home.
National Dex would be cool. Don't know if that would if they would do it. I don't know. I'll stay optimistic. I say yes. And then yeah, I think Pokemon Home will be around for a long time, right?
Oh my
What the
gosh.
fuck?
What in the world?
Speaking of long time.
Jordan, can you let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Jordan Fringe, where I talk about cartoons and TV shows from your past. Thanks for having me on.
Lord says Resident Evil Code Veronica needs a remake. Thoughts? Yeah, I think that needs to happen. Alejandro says, I just rolled credits on Breath of the Wild. 120 hours. Wow. Really enjoyed it. My first Zelda. My first Nintendo console. Cheers from, Guadalajara. I think I got that right.
That is a place.
Yes. All right, good. And then Banana says Sebastian is RGT's childhood dog, I think.
Yeah, my mom wanted to name me Sebastian.
Oh.
But she didn't because I guess she realized I would have stabbed her. So she named my dog that instead.
Nate, are you here?
Yeah.
No.
Well, we can hear you moving around, Nate. We can hear the crickets too.
He's here for the real show.
Okay, I think he's here for the after show. So if you guys want to come by for that, we'll see if Nate's back. But
I was watching the Yankee Red Sox game.
Oh, okay, cool, very good, very good.
You can watch it on mute.
No, but then I'd be like Sean when something exciting happens or something bad happens. I'd be cursing, and then people would be like,
for it.
"Yeah," and then people would be complaining like, "Oh, why does he just mute his mic when he's watching the game?"
It'd be different from any other week.
Well, make sure you check out Nate the Hate. Otherwise, though, we'll be over on the after show with RGT. Check them out there. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back, I think, to full strength next week. And Evan, I don't know. Evan's at a LAN party, so he might be there for the next month, but he'll probably be able to hold
Yeah, isn't that like half a year for Evan?
But he'll still do it, the show, at least running it in the background from there. So we'll be a bit more experienced on the back end side for that. So, but thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Think for authority.
Do.